Curtis Selby's time, breaking down the stories every view will unwind. From left to right, we'll see the light. It's balance, we're chasing, no fighters fight. Curtis Selby talking it straight. Let's hear both sides, let's communicate. Politics and reason, let's find the truth. Curtis Selby's here to bridge it for you. Debates, insights, it's all on the screen. Curtis Selby, keeping it keen. Hit subscribe, stay a while, it's diving deep with Curtis Selby. The combo's unique. The combo's unique. Debates, insights, it's all on the screen. Curtis Selby, keeping it keen. Hit subscribe, stay a while, let's dive in deep with Curtis Selby. The convo's unique. Curtis Selby, talking it straight. Let's hear both sides, let's communicate. Politics and reason, let's find the truth. Curtis Selby's here to bridge it for you. Debates, insights, it's all on the screen. Curtis Selby, keeping it keen. Hit subscribe, stay a while, let's dive in deep with Curtis Selby. The combo's unique. The combo's unique. The combo's unique.
My apologies for the late start. It is I, Curtis Selby, your tired midnight blogger of blogs in this case, at 6:12 p.m. Hail and well met, and let loose the dogs of war. First, I will say hello to everyone in the chat, and then I will introduce our mysterious surprise guest, who we have gotten from deep state. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Hello, Germ Sapien. Hail and well met. So welcome to see you. What's the whole but? Well, I got home a bit late, and then my computer didn't want to play nice. So I had to do some deep magic with it. I basically bumped it like Arthur Fonzarelli, and it got going again. I haven't really been hacked by Russian spies. I am actually a Russian asset myself. Northern Okie, hail and well met. You are also quite welcome here. Thank you for coming in. Internet mice treadmills hit by Elon's efficiency? Yes, at my advice. I told him to get rid of internet mice, and Elon said, okay. Merit-based hamster wheels. Holy crap, intro song rocking. Thank you very much. This song was designed by a friend of mine. They are the lure us in with awesome tunes, and we laugh, and also welcome John Ponterborough, wonderful human being here. Thank you for all the advice, for all the links, for all the watches. I will probably make the announcement that you and I know about sometime next week. All right. You've been waiting long enough. The gentleman in the background waiting to be introduced. And before I do, Kapla, hail and well met, Gorilla Sensor Thoughts, the designer of said intro that everyone has been congratulating. I would like to welcome to the channel. His channel goes by the title of Whiskey Flats. Something, I forget. Something Dark Side. But the gentleman's name, former mayor of Billings, current member of Oklahoma Ebate, all around great guy, but scoundrel and terrible, evil, wicked right winger, Garry Canada. Oh.
Greetings.
You know, my camera, I still don't have it all set up. So, and actually I better not. It's still giving me weird fits when I start the cam. So, Garry, I know that a couple of people here know you and a couple of people don't. Please introduce yourself and tell us who you are and why the crazy tired blogger invited you on.
Well, Curtis and I have been friends for a long time. We used to be roommates when we were in college together. And we lost touch for a little while when his crazy ex-wife was being...
I married crazy.
But anyway, so we reacquainted, and it's been, we talk a lot. We both drive a lot at work, and while we're on the road, we just chat with each other and just kind of keep each other entertained. And so it's been kind of fun keeping up, sharing ideas, kind of going, can you believe what is going on in the world today? And so a lot of our thoughts are based around that, around our mutual taste in movies, games, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek stuff, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not. I wanted to go out front real quick and say I was the mayor of Billings. I've held political office. It wasn't like I campaigned. When you have less than 200 people in town, yeah, it's kind of like somebody's got to do it, and so I did. I am pretty active in motorcycle rights. I'm a big believer in freedom. I don't lean to the right. I'm firmly planted, and but I'm a freedom guy. I firmly believe you have the freedom to have your opinion, and opinions aren't wrong. They're different. I think it's part of what makes our country so great, is that we can have our opinions, and they can be different from other people, and we can come together and share those opinions. And while I was mayor, we had 5 city councilmen. One was a Democrat, the rest of us were all Republicans. And, I didn't need to seek the other Republicans out, for instance. Anytime I had a question on, hey, we're going to do this, what's your take on it? I'd always go ask the Democrat. I still to this day, those people on the left, I can't understand. They want to take my guns away. They want to limit my ability to own guns. And that kind of pisses me off. And there's just a lot of freedoms. To me, it seems like they want to moderate, and shall not be infringed is not acceptable to me. The First Amendment, or freedom of speech is there for a reason, and freedom to bear arms is there to protect all the others. So we could just kind of go from there, I suppose. But that's my philosophy in life, is I would fight tooth and nail for you to have the freedom to try to take my freedoms away.
Excellent. Let me get caught up in the chat. Somebody's about to ask you a question. I don't know if you're able to see it, because I don't know how your StreamYard looks on your computer, but Jeff B, welcome. Hail and well met. Thank you very much. You're very supportive.
Hey, Jeff, Gary's got 2 R's in it, man. Come on.
Hey, I deliberately misspelled your name in the description because I'm
That's
a jerk.
all right.
But
yeah. My grandparents did it to my dad, and they didn't even bother to tell him. He didn't find out about it until he shipped off into the military, joined the Army, and they informed him he was misspelling his name. So
right on. And I'd also like to say hello to Sci-Fi Sith Dan, another wonderful person, another creator. We've actually got a lot of creators in here. I'll do more promoting as the time passes, but I want to get to the talk. However, Gorillas has a question, and I could answer it, but I'd rather Garry does, because Garry will do it a lot better than I will. Are you one of the cool bikers, or one of those biker jackasses that film themselves riding like complete jackasses on Facebook?
I'll let Northern Okie answer that one. He's been riding with me in the past. How about that? Good answer. Hey, there you go, Gary. To be all honest, you know, one of the things our organization does, we're ABATE of Oklahoma, and ABATE is a motorcycle rights organization, and we believe in protecting our rights. And the easiest way to do that is to promote safe motorcycle riding, because when you're not riding safely, people want to take your rights away because you're doing stupid stuff. So now, while I have done a lot of really stupid stuff on a motorcycle, I've done
What?
no other traffic on the road. I'm specifically remembering a nice 85-degree day last February, and I was riding on a highway not too far from my house. It's a nice, it's not a closed highway by any means, but it's long, straight, and you can see nobody else on the road. I pulled my phone out and I do a selfie video. I said, what do you do when it's 85 degrees in February? You go for a freaking ride. Yeah. So it was, we did, you know, I enjoyed that, but you know, it's not, I know what he's getting at. I actually had a motorcyclist pass me on my way. I drive a truck for work. He passed me on my way into Oklahoma City. I was coming into Oklahoma County on 74, and it's a 55-mile-an-hour zone when you get into Oklahoma County. And this guy went around me on the left like normal, but he had an extra lights on, and his high beams were on. He was brighting everybody, and everybody could see him for sure. But the two cars in front of him were both doing 55, and he couldn't get around, so he just went to run shoulder and past them. So,
okay.
I'm not like that. So I do my best to represent motorcyclists in a positive light. And I do have a Harley, and I do have an Indian. I do like American-made products. I'll just go with that. I'm not opposed. I've had just about every brand of motorcycle you can, except except Suzuki. I haven't had a Suzuki. I have all the others. So.
Gorillas just saw a video of a biker driving 120 down interstate lane, splitting, crashed as he flipped off the cop he flew past.
Karma karma is real. You know,
karma's a biatch.
Yeah.
Karma's a biatch.
So,
well, do we want to just dive into the topic, or is there anything else that you wanted to discuss or talk about before we segue into?
I'm good. I you know, if anybody else got any questions, I'm not shy. So
he's not shy. Why do you think I asked him?
I'm good. I'm good with answering about any questions that anybody might have. I'll try to. If you keep seeing me looking that way, that's where my television's at. So that I don't have to put these on to read, because I can't even read it with those on there. So, but anyway. The only problem is my TV is looks like about 20 seconds behind. So
there usually is like a lag. I'm not sure exact. Like I'm either a little bit ahead or a little bit behind of where YouTube usually is.
Right.
And usually I do have, not that any of you need or want to know, but I usually have YouTube running with the stream, partly so that I can see what you guys are seeing, and partly so that I can create a poll. And when I figure out what I want to talk about next week, I'll put a poll up. But so I believe we thought about talking about the fallout of, the talk that Trump and Vance and Vladimir Zelensky has had.
That's so hard for me to remember. It's not like Vlad the Impaler. So
I keep hoping that Vlad the Impaler will come back. I think it might be an improvement for all of these countries. I'm just kidding. But what, you don't like Vlad the Impaler? Gorilla Censored, talk about a F Green getting his ass thrown out of the speech. So Gorillas is actually the one that brought this to my attention, because he did the smart thing. Instead of just streaming against Trump, he streamed the speech, and I watched some of that. I ended up watching nearly the whole speech. It was, to quote, it was great. It was great television. It's the best television that's ever been. No one's ever had greater television than this. But we kind of decided that we would do a little rap about what we think about the joint session speech. I myself was disappointed that nobody was smoking a joint. So I want to call out Donald Trump for, false advertising. There were no joints in that joint session.
That was a little disappointing.
Dracula's back. He's 360 years old on Social Security.
I thought that was Pelosi that was a 360-year-old on Social Security. Maybe there's two.
She's definitely not the sexy vampire. I'll tell you that. Maybe she's sexy when she's had some blood, and then she goes back to being the crypt keeper. Okay, I'm being too personal. I'm probably being insulting, but
I don't think she drinks blood. It's that $400 a pint ice cream that she keeps. But there you go.
Oh, but everybody, I think even our friends that aren't quite as right-leaning as us, I don't think any of them even like Pelosi. But maybe I shouldn't speak for them. We all have our different views. So
I'm going to go out and as Gorilla brought up, Green when he got tossed out of there. One of the freedoms that I like to fight for is Pelosi's constituents have the right to vote her back in. I think they're kind of what's a nice way to say retarded? Insert that word for me.
Not really bright.
I just can't believe that they keep voting her back in. But Green got voted in and he got voted back in. He'll probably get voted back in again. But I believe in our system. I think it needs to be tweaked a lot. But as long as we're all playing by the same rules, I think it's fair. I think I would hate for because somebody out there in the interwebs decides they don't like Frank Lucas, who's my representative where I live,
right.
where you're representative, where you live.
Yes.
And I like the guy. Now there's some improvement that can be made. Some things he's done, I don't like everything, but that's politics. You don't like everything somebody does, but are they doing enough good to offset the things you don't like what they're doing? And so if somebody from Massachusetts decided that Frank Lucas had to go, that would irritate me.
Yeah.
He's my guy. It's my job to remove him when he's not doing a good job representing me.
John Ponderero is saying the Dems were all vaping, though. Gorilla says, what are you talking about? You didn't see all the Democrats leaving because there's no smoking in a federal building. THC. Germ says, I don't think anyone is too keen on either of the party's leaders lately. And Gorilla says, it's mentally challenged American.
Oh, hey, thank you.
Mentally challenged American. Let's take a quick look at Al Green being removed from the chamber, and we shall see what we think of this. Let me know how the sound is.
Ever recorded a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant at Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat.
All right. What do we think about Mr. Green? Can we even understand what he said?
I couldn't, but I've watched an interview with him, and he was complaining because Trump has cut the funding to Medicaid in the bill that the House proposed. And it's funny that they want to take away from Trump that, well, he didn't get the no taxes passed that he wanted in that bill because the bill hasn't become law yet. But they're going to Mr. Green here is going to go ahead and persecute him for passing a bill, taking away the funding for Medicaid. That's what his whole what he was complaining about, and he's got his cake there and he's eating it too, because he wants to crucify him because the promises of no taxes on tips and welfare and overtime. Well, he didn't get that done, but in the same bill, the Medicaid's cut. That, well, did he get it done or did he not get it done? And just for point of reference, I don't think Trump had anything to do with either one with writing that bill. I think that fellow behind him in the darker suit probably had something to do with it. So
yeah.
I mean,
Germ was asking how we feel about Mitch McConnell.
Jeremy, I probably don't feel as bad about him as you do. I probably feel worse.
Yeah, we are fans of Mitch McConnell. It's like old Sensei Nolan used to have that,
Jane Fonda poster.
Yes. I'd like to put up a poster of him. But anyway, John Pontorero, we shall overcome. And yes, one of these days, I'm going to work on my stream elements and promote someone besides just Sci-Fi Mombi. But please check out her videos. She does do a wonderful job with her talks. She's a very positive, very sweet human being, very intelligent. She also does watch parties. So
I know another advertisement you could do. You were going to wait till Sunday to do the shameless plug for canines at Whiskey Flats.
Yes, the Canada's. What do you call it again? I'm sorry.
Canada's Canines at Whiskey Flats.
Canada's Canines, indeed. I need to write that down.
If you hear the puppies barking, it's Cavalier King Charles Spaniels that are barking. The Great Danes are outside. I put them out because they were being a pain in the butt. Right
on. Yeah, this gentleman, he also raises Great Danes, and what was the other breed again? I'm so sorry.
Cavalier King Charles Spaniel.
King Charles Spaniels. Hoity-toity. I feel like lifting my...
They are a hoity-toity breed.
But he does a great job. He takes really good care of them. He cares what owners get them later. And he's really great with those dogs. Jeff B is saying the Geico caveman made it into Congress. He does kind of look like it, doesn't he? I never thought about it.
I will never be able to get that out of my mind now. That's perfect, though. Hopefully we don't have to see him after this term.
Gorilla's Cocaine Mitch should have retired 50 years ago. And Kaplaw, hail and well met. Space Fraggle, glory to you and your house. He says good for Al Green.
What was good about it?
I don't know really, but that's okay. We love Space Fraggle, so we will be kind to him. But
wait a minute, that popped up away so fast I didn't get to read it.
Oh! Which one? This one?
The one he was telling Trump he didn't have a mandate to cut.
Oh, yes. Germs is saying he was telling Trump he didn't have a mandate to cut Medicaid, which, number one, that's probably true. But number two, we established last week on this very blog that Trump has nothing to do with cutting Medicaid. And I will be happy to look that up again if I need to. Gorilla Sensor Thoughts, he yelled at Trump that he has no mandate. Germ says persecute, just criticism, but the grandstanding was a bit much.
Well, in in the interview, and forgive me, I'm not the intellectual that some of my friends are, and I don't remember things all that well. And it might be that, I don't know. I'm looking on the screen there, but the interview I watched, he actually said that he didn't intend to go that far, but when Trump during his speech claimed he had a mandate to follow what he's doing. I mean, he campaigned on these promises, and that's why I voted for him. I voted for him because I want all the things he promised he would do, and he's setting them up and he's knocking them down better than any president I've seen do, and he's done it in 6 weeks. He's made progress on almost all of his promises in 6 weeks. But anyway, back to the Geico caveman. He claimed that his intent was to stand up, make a ruckus, get reprimanded, and sit down. But then when Trump said he had a mandate, that just pushed him over the edge, and he lost control. And that was it. He had to freak out and be thrown out. And he didn't have any animosity towards the speaker or towards the sergeant at arms, which I think is very good of him to do that. But for him to hold that against his actions against Trump, those actions are his. He needs to own them.
I hear you on that. Space Fraggle, thanks for the kind words, but I'm out. I know when I'm outnumbered. And I hate that you feel that way, but I would say that there are a couple people in here that might be more on your side than regular, but I trust you. I love you, and I trust your judgment. So don't feel pressured to do or say anything. Just be you, sir. Northern Okie, the Sergeant at Arms, should have been utilized in the last few joint sessions. And that's possibly true. Hello, DJ Ronnie G. Hell and well met. Mandate.
Would the Sergeant at Arms should have maybe been utilized when Pelosi was ripping up the State of the Union address? Was that what?
I wonder. I've often wondered about that myself. I never really, even when I was angry with Trump, I didn't really think that was cool. That's just me, though. That's just me.
Well, I thought that what she ripped up was partly mine, and she should have been prosecuted for destruction of government property. Personally, that's just because I think she ought to go back to the crypt and keep keeping it instead of being the Speaker of the House.
The crypt keeper. Northern Okie, decorum has failed. We have few no statesmen anymore. DJ Ronnie G, good evening and good to see you, John Ponerero. And DJ Ronnie G, I don't see an issue with her performative.
Northern Okie, I would argue that I think Fetterman is trying really hard to be a good statesman. I think he's trying to. If we had about another, I don't know, 75 guys like him, people
willing to reach across the aisle.
Yeah. On both sides, and I'm going to be the first to admit that when he ran, I couldn't believe he ran. I had friends in Pennsylvania, and I chastised them so bad because he was unfit for office when he ran. He had a stroke. He couldn't even formulate a full sentence. I'm glad he's healed up and.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe the stroke, maybe when you come that close to death, maybe your views change a little bit, and you want to. I don't know, maybe because I don't know what he was like before then, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither.
But I do like the way he is now, and I wish we had more people on both sides that were. Dadgummit, is it Manchin, the West Virginia guy that just retired? I'd like to see some more folks like him.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. DJ Ronnie G, I don't see an issue with her turning the paper. Printers have plenty of toner. Unless are the printouts retained as historical artifacts.
If it hadn't been sitting directly behind Trump when she did it, we'd have never known it, and it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, go back when Trump has.
This one or this one?
It was a long one.
Oh, probably this one. Germs. when Trump has the ability to veto any bill that has cuts to things he said he wouldn't while campaigning. We'll see how it goes. It's likely that any bill that's Republican put out is Trump approved.
It is because he's threatened to primary anybody that goes against him, which I don't particularly think is too cool. Because face it, some of the I'm going to stick with Oklahoma. All 77 counties voted for him. They voted for him last time. They voted for him the time before. Blah blah blah. But we do have some fairly liberal counties, and again, I'm going to fight for your right to try to take my rights away. And that's just the way I'm wired. I firmly believe that you should have the freedom to love me, hate me, whatever, take me, leave me. I don't care. But the representatives need to do a better job, I think, of representing their constituents. One of the problems I have right now with the Democrat Party is, they're all singing the same song, word for word, verse for verse, in sync. And I just find it hard to believe that is representing all their constituents accurately. I just can't believe that.
Yeah. And we've talked about that both parties are too prone to do that. We're going to go just by whatever's in that party platform, and the people who voted for us, they can go get stuffed.
Yep.
DJ Ramage, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, but that's when and where we have failed as an informed electorate. We failed because when we're not representing you, they got to go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've had this talk, and I know several of us in these streams have had this talk that a republic cannot. It's not designed for a public that's not intelligent and well informed. It won't work. Canada's canines at Whiskey Flax. It was a huge show of disrespect. Yeah, I agree, and I didn't. Look, that's one of the problems I have with Trump. Even though I've become a Trump supporter, I still, I want him. And I mean, he is who he is, and I'm not going to change him. Nobody's, really going to change him, but maybe God. But sometimes I wish he was more respectful. And we also had that talk with, behind the scenes. At least when we first watched that video between Trump and Vance and Zelensky, we were like, man, he's a bully. That was just stupid. And we had to watch it several times.
Yeah, that was my first take. And just for the record, that's not me. That's my wife.
So,
Hi,
Shannon. How the heck are you doing? That's fantastic. Shannon's watching. Huzzah!
She's at training at Biloxi, at the Air Force Base there. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. She got there.
Do not tell you are talking with Russian asset. I will tell Vladimir Putin where she is. Undermine American security. Brata. But I do agree. I thought it was huge disrespect. Now, maybe, I guess my deal is I'm no longer where I was, but where I was in the past, I was kind of okay with people disrespecting Biden or okay with people disrespecting Trump, but I've never been okay with people showing disrespect to the voters of either side.
Right. And I'll agree with that. And again, that's where I was at with my complaint about the Democrat Party isn't with the constituents, isn't with the voters. It's with the representatives, all arm in arm, lockstep, and I've seen a certain radical group of people march like that in the past, but I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, don't go there.
But the fact of the matter is those folks chant the same words the same way, the same cadence, and I just can't believe they're properly representing their constituent where they're based. it seems to me, and I don't deny that the Republican Party does it sometimes, but
They do.
let's say, for instance, did the Republican Party do it the last session when they kicked the Speaker of the House out and they were so discombobulated because they're not like that? So,
Well, I do
but
think
anyway,
they've gotten better.
chasing rabbits down holes, I think.
Well, that's true. I know there's definitely people who disagree with me here, but I do think that the Republican Party has improved in some areas. But again, I know that that's very controversial, and if you're looking at certain news sources, you will absolutely think I'm full of crap. John Ponerero, I agree. I wish Fetterman would vote the way he talks lately. Northern Okie says Enri, Fetterman, and Langford. Yes. Bad spelling. Sorry. Oh, you're right out, Northern Okie. You spelled something bad. You can't stay and listen anymore.
Almost sick Shannon on you, the grammar Nazi.
Yeah.
Funny.
Gorilla censored thoughts. I'll reach across the aisle. They should have thrown MTG out when she disrupted Biden's speech. Look, I don't dislike her as much as I used to, but having said that, I do agree with that. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If we're tossing green out, they're both green, aren't they?
Hey, how about that?
That's surreal. We're in bizarro world.
Well, and I'm to confess, I didn't watch Marjorie Taylor Greene's the way she disrupted Biden's speech, but the speaker gave Greene 3 warnings before he sent the sergeant at arms to go over to ask him to just to sit down. Then he asked him 3 times to sit down before they finally escorted him out. And so and again, in his interview, he admits, I was given every opportunity to not be thrown out. And I was not planning on being thrown out. I was planning on walking out because he wanted to make that statement, which I think is, his prerogative. So,
yeah, exactly. If you want to walk out, then that to me, that's within your right as a freedom of speech. If you want to walk out, if you want to sit on your hands, that should be okay. But I do think that protests should be peaceful. And when you're trying to yell somebody down, which both Greens tried to do, that's not cool to me anyway. Germ says, and I think this is a great point, when the speaker shares a party with the president, bills are usually produced cooperatively. And I believe that to be so.
Well, it only makes sense. You don't want to push something through that's not going to get signed. And if you're on the same side, same page, that's
you might as well push through as much as you can while you can.
Yeah.
And
that's
just,
and remember, it's not that they're on the same side. It's that the voters voted in to power the Republican Party in both chambers and in the White House. So that's the voters. That's the constituents' responsibility that have done that. And
well, we've had that talk too. We get the government we deserve. So, in a sense,
unfortunately, maybe those of us that are concerned about it need to get off our duff and go out and work on educating the uneducated and get them out to vote. That's step one. I think campaign reform really is step one, but that's neither here nor there. That's a topic for another day.
It really is. It really is. DJ Ronnie G, it's public record. They will go to the Library of Congress, so it must be preserved. He's talking about that bill. Establishment Germs is knocking them out of the park for a little bit here anyway. Establishment Democrats have become very corporatist. Gorillas is feeling very lazy on cooking. Do I want maple sausage links or pancake sausage on a steak? I vote for the latter.
Speaking of cooking, I got a pork loin out there rolling in some
Go
smoke.
for it. Go for
No,
it.
no,
I got.
It'll
If you
be good
need
for-
to, I gotta catch up on the chat. You probably have time to.
Yeah,
flip it
run,
over if you need
do
to.
that. I'll go do that.
I can
Be right-
keep them entertained. I can't do this without you. Oh, sorry.
I bet you can.
Joan Ponterero, they were literally singing today the same song at Green Center today over the incident. Germ says that Trump is pretty thin-skinned. He's easily taunted and even more easily flattered. John Ponterero, I'm door dashing brisket. Oh my God, you guys are making me hungry. John votes for the Lynx. Gorilla Sensor thoughts. In other words, they're making complete jackasses out of themselves over a finger waving. Yeah, well, kind of. Jeff B., what is your opinion on the ping pong paddles with slogans at the speech? I must have missed those because I was driving while I was listening to it, so I didn't see ping pong paddles. Oh, it's interesting. Hold on 1 second here. I got to check on something. Visibility is crap. Oh, sorry. I just got something. No professionalism for you. All right. So, Gorilla Sense thoughts. At least when the Republicans chant, they are in sync with each other. Maybe. I haven't recently heard them say anything like Pie Jesu Domine, Dona eis requiem. Gorilla Such Thought also says, I think they should bring canes back to the House and Senate floor. Make caning great again. Well, we all know what happened before the Civil War. Northern Okie, no, not the wife, and not to rub it in, Northern Okie, but I don't have to worry about that anymore. Oh, hi, Gary. I'm being a real bastard. Wow, there's so much chat. Okay, Jeff B., if I were Trump, I would have pointed them out and said, I can't see those memes of those paddles. Maybe we should offer a prize for the best meme. Northern Okie, balanced commentary, gentlemen. Great show. Gary, we're not doing it right. It's balanced.
I thought I was firmly on the right and you were leaning that way. So dang,
we need to be more insulting. Those damn Democrats. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Germs, voters are very outspoken lately about the nature and manner of the cuts that have been attempted so far. Town halls have been brutal for Republicans.
Well, and I will say I have a friend in the motorcycle rights group. He's since passed, but one of the things that he was trying to get the motorcyclists to understand and to do, one of the things we talk about is recognize what other organizations are doing successfully and copy it, and like it, love it, hate it, whatever. But the LGBTQ, whatever alphabets, letters they're using today, they have infiltrated every level of government and have done a masterful job of putting their agenda forward, even though I have no idea what percentage of the population they are, but it's in Oklahoma, it's not very many, but they get their agenda heard because they've got members of their community in every town hall, at every school board, in every county commissioner seat. I mean, they've got somebody everywhere. And that's something that, the town halls that's why they're brutal for Republicans, is because we're losing that battle. Bad.
And I think what we should do is double down and be more angry and hateful to that community. And oh wait, no, that's what the Dems are doing. Sorry, silly me.
Well, we've had that discussion. My opinion on it is again, I will fight for your freedom so that you can fight to take my freedoms away. Whereas I believe the Democrats want to take my freedoms away. If I don't want to, to do something, to have something. I just don't do it. I don't have it. I ignore it. It just doesn't exist in my life. I'm fine with that. You know, Northern Okie will tell you, our whole time growing up together, I never drank. As you can tell tonight,
You've
I
changed
enjoy a nice scotch.
And I got to admit, I'm so tempted. I may yet pour myself something, but
But
for now.
you know, the whole time I didn't drink, I didn't try to keep others from drinking.
Yeah.
Whereas a Democrat that doesn't want to own a gun, he wants to pass a law saying nobody can own guns, except for his bodyguards, of course. You know, I mean, that's what they.
Well, he's allowed to have guns.
Well,
It's
that's the
just
hypocrisy
you
of
aren't
the
allowed to have
platform.
them because
is
you're
we-
not our people.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have them.
I mean, it's kind of like when they passed the Affordable Care Act, right? They didn't have to participate in it, did they?
Right on.
Hypocrisy at its best, right there, buddy. Let's see. Shall we go on with the hypocrisy? Government news scum. You know, you got to wear masks. You can't go get a haircut. You can't do this. You can't do that. Well, you can't go to church, but you can go to a bar or a strip club. But you got 6, I think it was, because
which was great for my industry. We had record numbers back then, and now they're upset and having layoffs because
I'm doing my best.
Match the record numbers anymore, which is why I got a different job. But anyway, Jeff B, the memes will be glorious, Gorilla. And Germs is saying, Germs, that seems very accurate. Or Northern Okie is telling Germs that he says that seems very accurate. Gorilla says, thoughts. Last time the Republicans had the Senate, House, Senate, and presidency, the Supreme Court, and the majority of governors was 1928. Absolutely nothing happened in 1929.
The world kept going.
Well,
No,
the world
wait a
kept
minute, no,
going, but Gorilla's being a little bit ironic, although he is pretty much on our side, I believe. But
Yeah.
But it is an ironic thought that the last time the Republicans had the House, Senate, presidency, and Supreme Court, and a majority of governors was right before 1929.
Now I'm gonna show my ignorance. Do we have a majority of governors now?
I do not know.
So
I
I'm not
think-
the only one showing my ignorance on that. Maybe Gorillas can tell us how many states have Republican governors.
Well, everyone's seen Al Green removed from the chamber,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We can figure that out.
Okay, then I'm going to look that up. Do the Republicans?
How many states have Republican governors?
Yeah, that'll work. How many states have Republican governors?
I really thought one of the people in the chat would have helped you out with that question. I'm disappointed in you all.
I have some of the best chat that's out there. Except for maybe John Ponterero, maybe not John Ponterero, Troy Pacelli, but most of the people in this chat are in that chat too. So you know, well, there's a lot of red. I'm just saying.
I figured there was, and you know, I'll be even honest. I would doubt if California flipped to red after the wildfires they're having. I mean,
well,
that was absolutely
that's a discussion we probably need to have back screen. But yeah, 27 Republicans, 23 Democrats. I don't really mean to gloat, but they took a shellacking this time.
Well, you know, all the changes going on in government right now is not unusual. When you get a president from a different party comes in, they want people from their party. And the fact of the matter, the last 4 years, we don't know and likely will never know who was running the country.
I have no idea. I
Go back
really don't. Oh, which one? Who am I looking at?
Scroll up. Scroll. Don't. Oh, the other. They are
Gavin
here.
Newsom.
No, go back to your map.
Oh,
There was a red and blue map. There it is. Yeah.
so
See, and here's the funny thing about Kansas. Kansas has a Democrat governor, but there's only 3 counties in Kansas that voted for.
Well, that popular vote, that's what that's good for.
You know, Kansas City and all that Shawnee, Pawnee, and whatever the heck.
This this is the guy Gutsfield keeps making fun of, right? Or am I mistaken?
Oh no, you know what? He's in hot water right now for what he did something. He's under investigation presently. You know, another Democratic governor in Illinois is in hot water. Woo, there's a surprise.
Not even possible. Troy Pacelli would tell you that every Democrat governor that Illinois has ever had are pure.
You were just hovering over. He's already tossing his hat in the ring for president for the next term. Walz.
Oh Lord, yeah, he's got my vote.
What did they call the Russia? What was the Russia hoax on Trump? He was a Russian
asset. Or whatever.
Well, there's your Chinese asset right there. There.
All right.
Conspiracy theory that I'll patiently wait for it to be proven accurate, like the Hunter laptop, like the Russia. Hillary. You know, like anyway, I can't think of any new.
Northern Oki's upset that we don't get to see the grill, but when I first read it, I thought he said girl.
Oh, girl.
I was like, what girl? What are you talking about?
We could go out and look at the grill. I have taken the pork loin off of it since.
Go for it. We can all use some tenderloin porn here. That would be great.
See if I can manage this.
Yeah, my camera, something's up with it. I can't even. I couldn't get it to work at all today. So
watch my wife in horror as I wander around the house to show you. Now, I've managed. She's been gone for a little while, so you got to take it into account that I'm living here in the house without anybody to clean it. And oh man, that smells good.
God, the whole his underwear's everywhere.
I'm trying. Yeah, it's okay. That's what it looks like.
Neat, delicious.
Here's the reveal.
Oh, darn it! Y'all are making me hungry. See, this is what you get from tired blogging. Reveals of tenderloin.
Let me wipe that off. See if I can. There you go.
We'll probably get flagged for that. It showed violence. Oh my God.
Can you see that?
I can't. Oh, wow. That looks delicious. You know, Germs is quite wonderful at grilling things. I think he too should.
For the name of my channel, I play more with trains than I do with my
meat
grill. Yeah, with my meat
grill. Yeah. Grill is. He's taunting us now.
You guys, I'm sorry.
Go away, or we shall taunt you a second time. Unless the visibility is so bad from blowing snow that you can't even see your hood ornament, I don't want to hear about poor visibility. Right on. Germs thought the paddles were a little silly. I guess I need to actually watch it because I listened to it in the car. Germs, it was a poor decision because people can change them in Photoshop to say anything. Yeah, and that would actually be fun.
And they have. If you've been on Facebook at all.
Man, today, I was just running, and either talking to you or listening to stuff in the vague effort to pretend like I was preparing for this.
Oh my.
Is it good? Is that good? Man.
Are you telling me Germs likes to smoke his meat too?
He does, and he is. I don't know which of you is better. You're both really good, but man, that he makes a good grill.
I've got a Weber grill and I use a rotisserie pizza oven attachment. You saw the skewer that was on that. Probably. I use I like Daddy Hinkle's, and I just tried. That's got the garlic onion dry rub Daddy Hinkle's, and it. Wow, that's good.
I'm not sure I understood this one. Gorillas is saying, especially Talib's whiteboard.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I didn't see what she had on it. I just saw the memes. Some of them people have put on there. I farted, and they're holding it up, and then their face. I will admit they look guilty. They look guilty of farting.
Germs, the LGBT blah blah and blah. The LGBTQ community is so small. The impact that equality for them and being inclusive for them is not worth the wedge issue it has become. And again, I think Germs. I hope I don't want them treated badly. I don't want them to not have a certain degree of equality, but at the same time, it's like I'm kind of tired of hearing about it, if that makes any sense.
Well, no, and I agree. I don't even, the best way for me to treat them equally is just quit telling me if you're a man that you like other men. I don't go around telling everybody I like other women.
Oh, I do. I tell everybody.
Let me say that differently.
Your wife is on this,
But you know what I mean. I don't force it. It's like a vegan. A vegan would freak out because I just sliced into a chunk of meat and ate it. And then they'd have to tell you they're vegan. I don't tell everybody I'm a carnivore. Just don't tell us. It's like the Morgan Freeman interview with Don Lemon, right? Morgan Freeman shut him down. What's the best way to get past this racism? Well, just quit talking about it. I'm a man, you're a man. Quit calling me a black man.
Yeah.
Easy enough. I'm not going to call you gay because I don't know if you are. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I do admire the fact that, like I was saying earlier, they've gotten themselves together. They've gone and made themselves to be a force to be reckoned with politically. That's admirable for
it. Really is. It really is.
The one thing I have got to make a stance on is Germs here left off the plus at the end.
Oh, that's right.
Somebody can tell me what that plus is for.
We must castigate him. Gorilla censored, 1 vote for links, 1 vote for pancake sausages. Germs. You don't have to be gay because other people are allowed to be gay. Conservatism used to believe that the government has no business in your bedroom. Well, it's kind of...
I think that's what I was just saying, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It is. It's kind of actually flip-flopped around. It used to be that I don't know. It's the Dems used to be all about it's nobody's business what you do in your bedroom. And the Republicans of the old time, we're talking about 60s and 70s. Yeah, it is. We can tell you can't be gay and this and that.
Yeah, no, I'll agree. I think I could be wrong, but I think that Trump took the like the language for marriage between the man and woman. He took that out of the Republicans' platform.
Yes,
for this campaign, and I think that was smart. Again, if two women want to get married and have the same issues and problems that my wife and I have, or you and your wife had, more power to them. Let's give them all those same problems we've got.
Equal opportunity pain. I love it. Yeah. That's fantastic.
I'm all for it. Again, I'm a freedom guy. I want you to have the freedom to go do what the hell ever you want to do. I don't need to know about it.
Within reason, of course. But
Northern decided to tell me what the plus stands for at the end of the LGBTQ.
He may. Plus. He's pretty bright, but if
I disagree more than Oki. There's just and in Oklahoma, I will agree that there's not enough of them to be that organized. But if there's not enough of them to be that organized, how in the hell are they getting
There's only
this wheel to get greased?
Okay, so my answer to that and all it is reasoning. It's not an informed thing. So take this with a grain of salt. But to me, there's two ways that a group that has very small numbers can be that organized. One is they're just so incredibly, intensely determined that they overcome the odds. That's one.
And I think that's it. And in their defense, I think rightly so. I think they've been persecuted.
Yeah, they have
for a long time. I mean, even the Republican Party we just talked about, until this campaign cycle, it was part of the platform to alienate them.
Yes.
You know, and right, wrong, or indifferent, whether you think it's right or you think it's wrong or you don't care. That's the way it was. And I think Trump, you know, you guys want to demonize him all you want, but he's the one that said no, and he got some pushback from some of the.
He did. He got a lot of pushback from it,
but not for me, by golly. I don't. You know.
Well, I was crazier back
then.
vulgarity
and what I would like to say, like either you do or you don't.
Gorillas, Germs, I'm part of the LBGT group, Liberty, Beer, Guns, and Titties. Northern Okie wants to know where he signs up for that. I do too.
Amen.
We have like 30 states, not quite, but close. Save the Tatas, Gorilla. And yes, you can. You can get the shirt online. Germs is correct here. 27 Republicans, 23 Democrat. Texas is more likely to flip blue before Cali flips red, but both have potential.
You know,
What do you think about that?
Disagree, but only because of I think, you know, when it gets bad enough, New York flipped red when crime got so bad they put Rudy Giuliani in. California got so bad once before they put this fella in.
And what was his name?
Gipper. And if you know that, so can somebody say why you would call him the Gipper? Come on, there's a trivia for you. Come on.
You know, I don't know. You told me this, and I've forgotten.
Yeah, a hint over here. There's your hint.
Why did they call him the Gipper, though? I mean, I know why they called Reagan that, but why did they call the Gipper the Gipper?
Well, his last name was Gipp.
Oh, well,
George Gipp, and I can give you all kinds of statistics about him. He still holds records at Notre Dame.
Cool. Gorillas, Whiskey Flats, you could dream, but California is completely lost unless we can ramp up the deportation and they help and also get voter ID.
Well, the first thing with California, you know, for most intelligent people with enough funds are leaving the state. That's why they lost 2 House seats in this last census, and they're likely to lose at least a couple more in the next census. You know, but just because the number of people are leaving, and you can gauge that easily off of going to rent a U-Haul in California and leaving it anywhere else in the country. It costs an astronomical amount to do that. But if you want to rent a U-Haul to go to California, it won't cost very much.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on that one.
No, but you can look it up, and
that's true. Let's do that. Let's do.
When there's some people call it migration, but when there's large portions of the population moving from one state to another, the prices for a U-Haul will skyrocket to leave that state, because U-Haul then has to pay somebody to drive it back to that state so the next guy can rent it to drive it someplace else, and then they got to pay somebody a lot of money to drive it back to that state again. So,
all right.
And I have personal friends that have left California. I've got my wife's crazy aunt's a big Bernie supporter, so she's happy being out there. She lives in Riverside. So,
oh, Bernie.
Yeah.
I'm just going to not say nothing about Bernie.
I'm such a good socialist. How come he doesn't share his money with people that have
he has great mittens. I'll give him that.
He does. You know, I love his overall look, man. If I had white hair, balding, and looked like that, wait a minute. Curtis?
That's me.
Yeah, maybe you should wear
maybe I should become independent and try to get elected on a thingamabob about healthcare.
How did we get onto U-Hauls? Let's
skip the U-Haul because I'm not finding anything very quickly. But it is a point. You're basically saying that you can gauge who's moving from what state by looking up U-Haul prices.
Yep.
Germs. People cast votes, not land. As our society becomes more urban and less agrarian, the population centers will hold more and more sway.
Hey, you're right. Thank God for the Electoral College is all I've got to say.
Oh, you've opened a can of worms there, but that's okay.
I'm okay. I think our founding fathers were geniuses. The other thing I think about a lot of them is that they were. Thanks, Germs.
Yes.
Dang, you completely distracted me. But our founding fathers, everybody wants to complain about the Doge guys' age, but how old were our founding fathers when they fought for our freedoms against?
I want to say Alexander Hamilton was 27 or 8.
Yeah, and
like
he was one of the old guys.
Well, he was. Well, honestly, no, he wasn't. But he wasn't that far off the average.
Don't you contradict me?
Contradict you. I will contradict you.
You're
the youngest one was Benjamin Franklin. Boy, howdy. I'm just being a jerk.
No,
and there was somebody older than
no, what
him,
if you had spectacles like Ben? You might be able to pull that one off too with your.
Well, I'm related to him, so
that for the record, if y'all have never seen a picture of Curtis, he's follically challenged, and when I met him, I think he was 18. Were you 18?
I was 20.
20? No, he was 19.
No, I was 20.
You're still a teenager.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Maybe.
So, you go.
Maybe for like 2 weeks.
But anyway, 19, 20. He was a young fella. He's pretty follically challenged then.
Yeah. God hates me. That's okay. Gorillas has been censored. We shall see how he has been censored. Oh, wait. No, I don't want to delete that. Visions of pork tenderloins dance in their heads. We're bachelors.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna eat on that baby for the next I don't know. month, man.
Volunteering as tribute barbecue tasting.
Come on.
Go ahead. What's that? Come on out.
Come on.
Party at Gary's.
4 days.
The LGBTQ issue is rarely brought up by Democrats lately unless the community is being discriminated against. The right has made it a wedge issue because it's an effective distraction. What do you say to that, Gary?
Well, I would say that say for instance, last year at our capital here in Oklahoma, I have no idea where James is from, but last year in our capital, of course, it's dominantly, and I don't mean just like a little majority, I mean dominantly Republican. They had to be forcibly removed from the Capitol. Their demonstration, they were so disruptive that we're in the process of trying to get a handlebar height law repealed, because if you ride your motorcycle into Oklahoma and your handlebar height is higher than your eyeballs, which is here if you're riding, right? But if you go into a curve, your bike leans, oh, look, now they're higher than your eyeballs. Or maybe if you're sitting slouched and you're tired, or if you're standing next to it and you're really short, there's a whole, it's arbitrary. So we're trying to get it fixed. We couldn't even get that done because they wouldn't vote on anything because the community were so disruptive.
Wow.
And I mean, I don't even know what they were being disruptive about. It didn't make any difference to me. I don't care. I wish people would leave them alone and give them the freedom and let them do what they want to do. The only problem I have an issue with is when fellows want to dress up like women and go read children's stories to our kids. That I think that kids don't need to be taught about sex at any age, at any level other than in the home. So there's my philosophy on that. And I don't have any kids, so.
Jason Jones, hail and well met. See, Jason, you could have been a contender, but
no wonder I don't know what it is.
The plus is for the monthly subscription. And Gorilla Censored Thoughts. Yeah, he sent me a tweet. He said, "Screw Waltz. He's destroying Minnesota. If I see him in person, I will do something violent to him in the face." And so he was censored, not by me, but by YouTube for that.
I think a spit wad to do it. Just get you a piece of paper and a straw like we used to do when we were in school. Then, I think that's all it would take with him. Because he's not going to shoot you back. He owns a gun. He just doesn't know how to use it.
And now I want to write a song. Jim Waltz has a gun. Bow, 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 bow.
Oh.
I don't know where I'd go after that.
Awesome beard, isn't it?
Gorillas says they're funded by activists USAID. People are laughing with Jason. Ha! Huzzah! Kiesler. Jason nailed the definition. Hail Connie Cleary. Hail and well met. The faithful bird woman of YouTube. One of the great moderators. And check out our second channel, Fluff Chick Productions. Sorry she wasn't in the chat.
Thanks, Connie, for not chatting while you were driving.
Yes, we want you home and safe and making more bird videos, please.
I want to get my wife a bird. Our 10-year wedding anniversary is a week from today, and we will be apart. And
no, you haven't been married 10 years. It's only been one.
It feels like it's only been one because our love is so strong for each other.
I'm trying to think of something clever to say to that, but I got nothing. So, Germ says transgenderism is the new wedge. It's replaced abortion as the social wedge issue. The society is getting a wedgie.
I never thought we'd start off talking about the joint session speech. Reagan
and end up with Reagan. I've never seen that movie,
dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. I watch it every year before football season because I'm a wild Notre Dame fan, and I watch Rudy, and they're both really, really good movies. Rudy movie is a good inspirational movie it's largely fictionalized. I've met Daniel Rudiger and talked with him a little bit, but it's about everybody telling you can't do something and you persevering to fulfill your dreams. It's a good story. It's great. But the Newt Rockne movie, one of my favorite things is his dad was a carriage maker and they immigrated from Norway. And Canute, as they called him in the movie, was I think 5 when they moved over and moved into Chicago. And in one of the scenes of the movie, Canute's out playing football and he comes home. It's a typical 50s movie, Leave It to Beaver style kind of stuff. I'm trying to remember everything. But anyway, he comes home. He's a little bit late for supper. And Dad starts admonishing him in Nordic, whatever they speak in Norway. I'm gonna go with Nordic. But anyway, Mom chastises Dad. We're in America now. We speak English.
Yep.
Favorite scene in the whole movie. It was so, and maybe that's because I'm a racist, xenophobic Republican.
We are racist xenophobics. That is truth. It's demonstrable.
And homophobic and whatever anything else I could think of to be afraid of, because that's what
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed. Hi, Darth Plato.
Is that a new?
Yeah, it's a person that comes in the chat every now and then. Darth Plato is very intelligent, very philosophical, and knows a pretty decent amount of history. So
cool. I like history.
History is good. Kurt just like history. Gorillas wonders if the paddles will take off like Bernie looking grumpy at the inauguration.
Plato, and just you will see plenty, I promise.
Gotcha. Darth Plato, are you interviewing Uncle Jesse?
Uncle Jesse? Is that because of my bibs?
I guess. I don't know. Northern Okie is correct. Someone needs to Photoshop my head onto the Bernie Mitten meme.
Please, somebody do that.
I keep working on it, but I'm still not quite there with my skill level yet. Germs, fighting for freedom and analyzing piles of data with experience are very different tasks. You wouldn't want a high school graduate doing brain surgery. What's your comment on that?
I assume he's talking about the Doge guys.
That's what I think, but I could be wrong.
Again, I'm not the intellectual that a lot of my friends are. I'm just quick-witted, I think, sometimes. But my answer for that is success is success, and I don't really give a shit what your credentials are if you're being successful. The last time I checked, which has been a couple of weeks now, so a month into, not even a month, because I don't think he started the same day. Doge didn't start the same day Trump took office. So less than a month into it, even the most liberal person I know who had to correct me from, I claimed that they had saved 56 billion. And he said, it's only 18. So they saved $18 billion already in less than a month. And you want to bitch about that. FAFO. That's all I can say about that.
What was the name of the guy that you were telling me about who was part of the Doge team that was interpreting the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Yeah, he was the first one to decipher any of the scrolls. He at Nebraska University, and again, the intellectual lacking that I have, no idea what the guy's name is.
Interpreter of scrolls. I'll
but
bet YouTube
to answer your question, would I want a high school graduate doing brain surgery? Only if he was black or brown or gay or female.
Is it Luke?
That what DEI encompasses? Did I miss something?
Probably.
Because apparently you don't have to be qualified for tasks in the Democrat Party. Our president made a very sexist, racist comment about who he was going to pick for his VP pick. The last president, not the current one.
Oh, yeah. Was it Luke Ferriter?
Yes, I believe that is the name.
Okay. Do we want to watch some of that video, or what? Or do you think that would just detract from what?
Thing to get us off the subject we're on, I think, would be fantastic.
That's true. That's true.
Talk about Pocahontas.
Yes, let's talk about Pocahontas. In fact,
we're talking about Luke. Let's. I'm okay with the Doge stuff. I just want to get off it if we can. I don't want to argue too much.
Well, I know your time is limited. You have early day, so we got to actually get moving. But let's.
I bet get to sleep pretty early tonight.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably be up for Netter's Thursday things, but I'm gonna crash hard after that.
I still want to hear back from Germs. I want to make sure he is talking about the Doge stuff on this comment on the fighting for freedom. I don't think they are fighting for freedom. I don't think that's their job. Their job is to look for wasteful spending and money. And I hate that they keep using fraud, because fraud's a criminal activity that needs to be proven. I do think the waste, successes in one field does not equal success in another. I don't disagree with that. Can you go back to it?
Which one? This one?
Success in one field doesn't equate to success in another. I stopped at that, and he had another sentence. Doge is not saving as much as it says. See, that's my point. You want to say that they're wrong because they say they've saved 56 billion, but then you also will admit that they're saving 18 billion, right? And okay, so boo-hoo. These unqualified guys have only saved us 18. How would you say that, Curtis?
Billion dollars.
That's success. And people that want to say that Elon Musk isn't, he's an idiot, he's a moron. But he can catch a rocket booster with chopsticks, remote control like. He can build a boring machine that works at a 1,000% efficiency rate compared to the next best boring machine. He can make his rocket boosters more efficient than what they were even 5 years ago. He created an industry with electric cars. He didn't rely on that. I want to say it was $18 billion that Biden appropriated for electric car recharging stations, in which that 18 billion got us
Nothing.
I don't think there's a single one, but there's Tesla stations all over the freaking country. I mean, they're everywhere, you know. So what's some of the other industries that he created or improved on? The brain thingy to control you.
The link that allows you to control an electronic hand.
Yeah, you're bionic.
I know my friends probably disagree with me virulently, but I believe he gave us back free speech. I really do.
Oh yeah, the buying Twitter thing, you know, stuck his neck out on something that everybody thought was going to fail immediately. And what did he do? He went in there and he made it more efficient and more profitable.
Oh no, he didn't. No, he's not making any money off of it, Gary. He's not making any money off of it. He's lying when he says that.
It still gives everybody a platform to converse on, and to have this kind of discussion. If Germs and I had this same discussion on Twitter before it became X,
we would be off.
One of us would get censored. I'm pretty sure it's not him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that too. That's one of the things that's always upset me about
Germs,
the whole thing.
I'm going to ask you. I want to know two things from you, buddy. I want to know, first off, what state you live in, just out of curiosity. And
he's in Oklahoma.
Is he? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Secondly, and I only asked that because of his LGBTQ comment earlier on not, being for that Northern Oakley. I can't. Anyway, but what is that?
Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
That was a car outside, on my street.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know what? We got the sheriff of the county living through.
Will you admit that they have saved billions of dollars? With the interest that we would have paid on those billions of dollars, it would be even more than what they found to this point. And if people weren't fighting them and would allow them to look through the books, I'm betting you they would find billions more.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, that's just my direct question to Germs. So, Trump slams Pocahontas.
Yes, let's watch that. Huzzah! And we'll see what we all think about that.
Savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
All right. What do we think about that? I thought that was funny, but
I don't think it's very presidential when he calls people names.
That's true.
But
That's
I do
true.
think it's funny.
It is funny.
I mean, the sanctimonious, when he's talking about Ron DeSantis, Newscomb, his little names for people. But with one of my hobbies with the motorcyclist, Northern Okie, we call him X-Man because of his or lack of being able to pass those on to his children. He's got 6 girls. I mean,
Hey, don't rub it in, Gary. He's probably. I don't even have the bourbon to drink the sorrow away. But what? Sorry. Okay, never mind.
Oh, Shannon thinks that's what Germs is talking about?
Maybe.
Man, I hope not, because I was way off topic if that's what he was talking about.
Germs is admitting. He admits he's an Okie. Admit it.
Yay! Yay for Okies.
The revolution rehabilitated the career of George Washington after his ignominious surrender at Fort Necessity. Otherwise, no one might have heard of him. None of us are from Muskogee, though, I don't think.
I've been there.
I have
It's
been
much.
there.
It you know, and Merle Haggard wasn't from Muskogee either. Who's the one that sang the song?
Yes.
They've got the USS Batfish there, which is an interesting story. So
I did not know that.
yeah, it's a submarine that was due to be decommissioned after Vietnam, and the sailors that were on it said, "Nope, not my boat." they were gonna scrap it. You know, that's what they do with decommissioned boats. And so they absconded with it, and they did with it what submarines were built to do: hide. So they hid and they floated all the way up to Muskogee as far as they could get.
Wow,
So
that's crazy.
Yep. So it's moored there. It's a World War II diesel submarine, and it flooded through there not too long ago, and the Batfish actually flooded, so you can't tour the inside of it now, but they're working on it. So if you ever get a chance, Germs, I don't know if you're over in that neck of the woods, but if you ever get a chance to go over there, it's a really interesting site. It's free. They take donations and stuff. They're trying to get a new thing. But anyway, there's my plug for going to Muskogee. And if you like Renaissance festivals, here's the funny story.
Uh-oh.
First time I'd seen Curtis since she got married. I don't know what, 6 years probably.
Something like that, yeah.
I'm sitting there. I'm dressed in my normal Renaissance garb with my little kilt on and stuff, and with my first wife, and we're sitting in the castle at Muskogee. And lo and behold, Curtis and his wife walk in.
Ex-wife.
But I hadn't seen him since. And they sit down. Curtis's back's towards me, and his wife is looking at me. I dare not say the woman whose name we shall not mention. Looking at me, and I look at her, and I say, and I point at Curtis. I say, "Get Curtis." And her eyes were like, "Nope, not going to happen, dude." And so I do it again. I said Curtis Selby. And she's like, "Nope, I have no idea who you are. I'm going to ignore you. You don't exist." I was like, "Okay."
That was her way.
So I finally said, "Curtis Wayne Selby." And her eyes, she was kind of scared, and then she still wasn't moved, though. She wouldn't tell Curtis that I was trying to get his attention. So I finally stood up. For those of you that don't know, I am about 6'4", and I'm, at that time, probably about 280 pounds. So I was a fairly large guy. And I think I kind of startled her maybe a little bit because she didn't recognize me at all, which thank God. But anyway, so I walked over, and so Curtis we got to chit chat a little bit. It was fun. So another story from Muskogee. Sorry, I sidetracked this again. That was more fun to talk about Pocahontas anyway.
It kind of, well, yeah, that's true.
Me.
That's true. Darth Plato wants to know if you have any nephews.
If I have any nephews?
I guess so.
I do have nephews.
Yeah.
Do I have just two? Three. I've got three.
I've got three.
Yeah. I am the third son of my mom out of four boys. Oldest two boys have a different father than what I was raised with. I come to find out he wasn't really my dad. But then I've got a younger brother we shared the same father. No idea who my dad is. But I just chose never to have any children. First wife was okay with it, and second wife couldn't give me children. If I wanted to, she had four of her own, who have given me amazing grandchildren. So I'm like the smartest guy you'll ever meet. Never having to have raised children, but yet get the enjoyment of grandchildren.
You get the best of both worlds.
I think so. I love it. Grandkids are great. So
I loved being a father. Being a husband sucked. But that's a story for another day. Northern Okie likes somebody's answer. I'm not really sure whose. It is what it is. Connie Cleary, congratulations. Her mom and dad will be married for 55 years, together for almost 60 years.
That is amazing.
That is amazing. And
I remember as a child, I must have been 6 or 7, somewhere in that neighborhood. My grandparents celebrating their 50th, and what a huge deal it was. I met relations that I never saw again, never had never met before and never saw again. But it was and my grandparents lived in the house that Northern Okie lived in when he lived in Tocqueville with his first wife. So it's a small.
I think that house is still out there somewhere.
No, it's gone. The nursing
Is it?
center where it was at.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
And welcome, Accounting Sheep.
there's a new one.
No, he's been around for a bit. He just
Well, I mean, but accounting sheep.
Accounting Sheep. You got it. He's an accountant.
Is
He's
that
a
like
sheep.
Shannon, help me out. What's the dog's name from accounting? There's a TV show. It's set in Australia. Thank you, Germs. He is talking about Doge. Okay, all right. I appreciate you clarifying that. Carl from accounting. This girl is going through the crosswalk. She flashes the guy, and he hits a dog. Both those Doge numbers are incorrect. Well, of course, Northern Okie knows exactly what the Doge numbers are, and the Doge guys don't know it. Neither does anybody else in government. Come on, help me out. Where do you get? Show me the receipts for both Doge numbers being. What are the correct Doge numbers so we can celebrate in ecstasy how much money Doge has saved the US.
No, Gary, we're not allowed to celebrate that they took it because it's a tyrannous and a horrible thing.
What about the equity part? Because that's more important.
Yes. Yeah. What's important is what were the dollar amounts? That's what matters. That's what matters. Gorillas is asking if it was big balls. I got to admit, I loved listening to these highfalutin news assholes. Someone named Big Balls.
I can't believe you didn't go with Harry.
I kind of wish he had.
Maybe that's his backup. Wonderful. So when he gets tired of saying balls, he can change it to Harry.
I would listen to Rachel Maddow over and over again. Someone named Big Balls. As long as they identify as a doctor. Big Balls Employee of the Month. Well, what do we?
A comment about how come Scots wear kilts.
What? I missed that.
The accounting sheep thing. Sorry.
Oh.
Sheep can hear a zipper a mile away. Demonizing DEI and using it. Wait. Yeah. Germs said demonizing DEI using it as a reason to discriminate is a great way to eliminate the most capable candidate for a position. You could flip that, Germs, and say that somebody in the position that fits into the DEI description gets looked down upon as maybe they're not qualified and they only got the position because of the color of their skin. I mean, the last vice president, I think, fits that to a T. She was only selected because of the color and her gender. That was 100% DEI hire that was a failure from day one.
I actually honestly agree with you on that one. I'm sorry, but I do.
But I agree that and I don't agree that demonizing DEI is an issue. I think DEI is racist, sexist, and I think it's illegal. I think it goes 100% against equal opportunity employment, because if two candidates, according to DEI hiring practices, are equal, they're going to hire the one based on their race. And that's racist in and of itself, is it not? If you hire somebody because the color of their skin,
that's racism.
That's racism.
That's the definition of it.
Gender,
go ahead.
or because of their sexual orientation. That's
discriminatory.
That's not inclusive at all.
Yeah, it's exclusive. And that's what bothers me about it. Now, if DEI was used the way they say it's supposed to, in other words, we want to make sure to include everybody that's qualified.
Well,
whether they're white, black, gay. What's that?
I said, how did DEI work out for the fire department in LA? I mean, look at all
It worked stellar.
it was perfect, wasn't it?
I think so. Well, that's probably where we're demonizing it because.
Well, I mean, they're okay. The Democrats are okay if they to demonize the wealthy because they don't pay their fair share.
Right on.
You know, I got into a discussion the other day with a second cousin of mine. I guess he is cousin's son. Anyway, he's different. You know, thinks some of the same arguments or disagreements I'm having with Germs I had with this fellow. And his argument was that the wealthy don't pay anything to help the poor. Well, it's not their job. Their job is to run their company and become more wealthy. It's the poor's job is to get out and get a job. I've never had a poor guy give me a good job. I was talking about Doge, and I was referencing your example that young folks fight our wars. You must have been talking about you, Curtis. I don't think I say anything about young folks.
I don't remember talking about young folks fighting our wars. I really don't.
No.
I'm not saying that we wouldn't say something like that, but I don't remember saying anything like that.
And young folks do fight our wars, though.
They do.
He's not incorrect about that.
Both parties have done this. Old men have sent young men off to die in stupid wars they made.
Because old men are so close to death, they don't want to go and risk it.
Yeah, exactly.
Young men are still invincible. Just ask them.
Yeah.
I am not. Oh, I will agree, Northern Okie. Both of the Doge numbers mentioned are incorrect. Yeah, I'm still waiting for you to show us what the correct Doge numbers are.
They are at a disadvantage. They can't share links in here, but I might rectify that or not. I don't know. Gorillas, I wonder if I could talk Whiskey to make a video for me. He has the right voice and attitude. All he would need to say is, "Everyone shut the fuck up. Gorilla wants to go to bed."
Ask Northern Okie if he thinks I would go ahead and say that.
I think you would.
Yeah, I will make one correction for you, Gorillas. Good whiskey doesn't have an E in it.
Darth Plato, it's easy not to care when it's not your money.
Right there, is Darth Plato a female? I mean, she's got.
I don't think so, actually.
Okay,
but it's a very distracting. Like
it is. I love Batgirl.
Oh man, every time Darth Plato comes on, I just feel this confusion. It's like, oh, she's back. That's not really Batgirl though. So,
but regardless of gender, that person, Darth Plato, hit it right on the head, and that speaks volumes for both parties, all three parties, if you want to count Bernie, I suppose, because it's not their money and they spend it without caring, and there is, to me, where the problem really is. And again, we're back to it's our responsibility when they're mishandling our money. We should kick them out. You know, we talked, Curtis and I talked earlier the last couple of days about holding accountable the people that put the bureaucrats in those positions when they mishandle the money. It's not we can't fire the bureaucrat. That's one of the problems with the system, is that the voters can't fire the bureaucrats. We have to fire the people that hired the bureaucrats.
Yeah. Well,
and we need to. They need to be fired.
You're fired.
Fired.
Germs, cutting costs and losing return of investment from good government policies that were canceled is counterproductive to having an effective government. Tesla cashed in on government grants for their chargers. What do you say about that?
Well, so did all the wind turbines and the solar companies and everybody else. So I'm not even. I don't care. It's like saying Trump used the tax loopholes. Did he break some laws, or did he follow the guidelines that government set forth so that he could get the grants? I mean, somebody gave him granted him the money, thus the name of the grants. Cutting costs and losing ROI from good government policy.
What good government policies were canceled?
That's what I want
That's
to know.
what I want to know.
And the vast majority of the people that were let go were the people that weren't put on full time yet. Like, I don't even remember the number. So if I said a number, I'd be wrong, and you'd go, "You're wrong. It was not that number. It was this number." But it was.
I'm
vast
sick to death
majority
of that.
Those that were let go were people that hadn't reached, which still kind of baffles me that it takes a year to get on permanent. But anyway, it is what it is. So the and the other vast number were people that chose to not come back to work. I got to show up,
or didn't exist,
or didn't exist. Well, I don't think he's gotten to the bottom of that yet, because that's the list your 5 things you did last week. And I still think that big balls should have hairy balls. No, he should have bigger balls and publish anonymously the funniest responses to that. Because I can promise, if I were the guy sitting at my computer, I would take the 90 seconds of my day to respond to that email with, well, I opened this retarded email, I looked at it, this retarded email, I now am responding to this retarded email, and I think the guy that sent it must also be retarded. So I did that this week as well. And then I'll come up with another spiffy answer that's just as retarded as all the other answers. And I'd send that back to him. And that's the 5 things I did last week that you need to know about.
They actually had something like that. Let me see if I can find it. I probably can't, because there's just too much stuff. Am I just stupid, or do search engines just not work nearly as well as they used to?
Well, just my opinion, and just I guess my observance from my right standing position is that they have been programmed to give you what they think their overlords want you to see. Is that the best way to say it?
Good enough for me.
And I'm reading this again, cutting costs, because I know that's what he meant, losing ROI. And I don't know that losing. First off, is the government there to have an investment put in them? I mean, return on investment for the government. The only thing that was invested in the government that I can see was my Social Security, and that has absolutely been lost, but not as a result of cutting costs or canceling anything. But the counterproductive is to having an effective government. I personally think, Germs, and this is one of our basic things that we're going to disagree on, and I love that we can disagree and still have civil conversation on it. But I think a much smaller government is much more effective than a larger government, just like Musk displayed with when he got rid of 80% of the employees at Twitter. And now it's running much more effectively and much more productively. I think government would run the same way. I think government right now, having 2 million employees, is just gross. It's disgusting. It's way out of control. It's one of the things we're still paying for is this was my favorite because it reminded me of Curtis. That's horrible. No, but Curtis's family raised sheep, and so this was goats and sheep to me are the same animal. Though I know they're not. But in World War II, the government subsidized goat farmers because we needed more materials to make uniforms out of, and they were using goat hair. That was only supposed to happen for a year. It's still happening. And that's because government is so huge that it is not effective. It's not efficient. Let's allow the Department of Government Efficiency to run its course, see what they find, and let's celebrate any savings that they can find, because we are so far in debt, it's unbelievable. There.
I agree.
Soapbox. I'm
So
sorry.
say we all. Germs drives a Tesla. But you know what? I want to read this. Wanted to email what I did last week in detail. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, I want to drive one. I don't want to drive or own one for maybe the same reason he bought one, and I'm just
putting that out there.
No, well, I'm projecting, or there's a word for it. Anyway, I'm assuming he bought it because he wants to be green to the planet, and I shouldn't do that. I apologize if that's not why you bought it. But I want one. I don't want to own one, but I want to drive one because I've heard some of them have some really, really good response, good driving, good. The electric cars are really, really fast. Sincerely, man. I see what you found. Okay.
Yes. I wanted to email what I did last week in detail. Please let me know if you need more information. Suck the biggest dick. Seriously, it was 12.3 inches. I measured. 2, got fucked by said dick. Best sex of my life, and we'll be going back for more. 3, ate a man's ass, but he said he wasn't gay, so it's fine. 4, decided to fuck myself with your bullshit and came. Sincerely, go fuck yourself. Elon Musk's response, we said 5 items. That's only 4.
Perfect.
I thought so.
He doesn't really give 2 shits about what you're doing at work. But if you don't respond, then he's got to investigate, do you exist? Or
Yes.
Are we paying another ghost employee? Face it, government databases have been hacked. Social security checks are going to Chinese folks that don't deserve our dollars, and they're getting them to the tune of like $12 billion or something is going to Chinese hackers. You know, that's bullshit. And these people want to bitch because, well, he's not qualified for this. Well, he's fucking finding shit. That's qualified enough for me. I voted to get the guy to do his job, and he's doing his job.
Yeah.
So,
Germ says Elon has kicked so many out for dissenting or criticism.
I want to see the receipts on that before I believe it, because I believe that you believe that, but I think somebody lied to you by telling you that.
But even if he did, isn't that basically what, and I don't mean to be sarcastic, but that's pretty much what they all do. If it's your company and you dissent, you're probably going to fire that person.
Wait a minute. He's talking. Yeah, he's talking about Twitter now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. I was thinking he was talking about the Doge stuff. You got to specify. Help me out here, man.
Darth Vader says is generally
intellectual stuff more.
Oh, sure you are. Northern Okie, I think my head might explode. Garry Canada is defending the Tesla guy. How do you respond to that, Gary?
I give credit where it's due. I mean, maybe my head should explode because 3 years ago he was the tree hugger's darling. All of these, like that. All these Al Gore worshipers were going, oh, Elon Musk is going to save the planet because humans can alter it, which, in my opinion, we can't. Curtis and I were talking about this earlier today. That's funny. I don't believe that when a volcano, when the earth farts for 15 seconds and puts out more noxious fumes than what humankind has in our entirety, I don't think we have any effect on this planet, even a little bit. And if we did and the earth didn't like it, she would just kind of go, and we'd die like the dinosaurs did. So, we're not having people thinking we have an effect on the planet is so they can puff up their ego and feel good about how important they are. Well, we're not important to this planet.
The thing is, and I don't know if anyone noticed this in the election, or maybe nobody cared, but a lot of people changed their minds from 4 years ago, myself being one of those. I guarantee you that even a year ago, I would be talking very different than I am now. Elon Musk went through a similar change, and I would suggest it was for similar reasons.
Oh, and Joe Rogan, and what's your crazy English guy that I always get confused?
Oh, Russell Brand. There's a video of his I thought about sharing, but like we've got a lot on the chat just that's worthy of talking. Germs, cutting and saving are two very different things. Government's not a business. Go ahead. The Government Accountability Office is, and the internal regulators do a better job than they're given credit for. I respectfully disagree. Because if they did, Doge wouldn't be finding 90% of this stuff.
Well, I had this debate with a very liberal friend of mine, lives over in Ponca City, and she was telling me that the I keep forgetting what they're called, the auditors, the general, help me out here. Anyway, inspectors general would do their findings, and then they would report it to Congress, and Congress would go, "Oh, okay, thanks," and that'd be the end of it. And so, in that vein, I can believe that that's true, and I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the same thing Germs is saying basically is that the regulators are doing a better job than what they're given credit for. I don't disagree with that, but how do we give them credit for it? What needs to change to where when they're doing their job, they get the credit for it, and they're held, not they are held accountable, but the people they're auditing are held accountable for how, and I agree, cutting and saving are two different things, but cutting is saving, and sometimes saving is not necessarily cutting. You can just do things more efficiently without cutting sometimes.
Yeah, true. I'm not sure what this means. Northern Okie is saying the Pocahontas comment is oh, wait, this one I do know what he means. It's the next one that I don't know. Pocahontas comment is a lack of decorum. It's funny, but it's not presidential.
Hey, we agree. And we even said that a little bit ago, but about all the name calling, I don't think is presidential, whether it's the sanctimonious or who.
Yeah, it seemed like he cut back on that a little bit after the assassination attempt, but it seems like he is coming back to a similar place, and I don't like that. Germs, in case you were wondering, I'm a registered independent with a split of progressive and conservative values.
I don't really, honestly. I've got a very conservative friend that registers Democrat just so he can fuck with their party. I've got a friend that says he's a Reagan Republican, and I know he's a Democrat or he's a liberal, so that makes him a rhino. I don't care. Again, I'm the freedom guy. I'm glad that you feel comfortable enough to tell us you're an independent. Obviously, I'm a registered Republican, but the bottom line is and I used to vote like what was that last Democrat governor we had? I voted for him over Steve Largent because Largent was against for governor. Brad Henry. Largent was against the lottery, and I think if you're horrible with math and you think you're going to win millions of dollars by giving somebody $5, you should be able to give somebody $5. And I wish they would use it what they said they was going to use that money for. I don't believe that they are, but I also don't care what they're using it for because you gave the money freely. I don't believe you gave it for teachers to get a raise or to help our education system. I think you gave it because you got the adrenaline rush scraping off the card thinking you might get dollars because you're poor with math. Anyway, but medieval fairs are so much fun.
They are. They really are.
And Muskogee, the Muskogee thing. Have you been? We took our grandson, our oldest grandson, only grandson, I guess, to a Muskogee Halloween thing because his birthday is just a little bit before Halloween. That was tops, dude. That was cool. That was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun there. So if you haven't done the Muskogee thing on Halloween, I'd go do that.
All right. This is the comment I don't understand. Gary and Pocahontas, same brain.
Oh,
I'm not sure I understand that.
Because we had said earlier that it was unpresidential to be calling names, and
gotcha.
That it
gotcha.
was yeah. So, yeah, I imagine there's a lot of things we share a brain on. Well, the first time I've heard the story of the ex-wife and how she's been relocated to a river in Muscogee. Wait, no, that was
That was the submarine.
Who said it wasn't both?
Yeah,
I wish I could get more stories of the ex-wife. Northern Okie knows a couple, but I'll look for that later. Northern Okie. I think Northern Okie knows a couple of stories about his ex-wife. So you just get with him offline because he's told me I'm not going to share them.
Yeah, the sad thing is YouTube doesn't let you share links in the chat anymore unless you're a wrench, and I've gotten kind of choosy on my wrenches.
You're a stingy wrench giver.
I'm a stingy wrench giver. Having said that, Darth Plato has a wrench because they've been in many of my chats. DEI hiring has been a thing since '69. It started in Detroit, I hear.
I just want to know how you get away with DEI with the.
Why don't we just obey the law that was on the books since
that's what I want.
1963?
I mean, you've already got the. It's escaping me. I'm Curtis. You're rubbing off on me. This is a senior moment I'm having. So this is 100%. It's 100%.
It's probably my fault. It's that law of whatchamacallit, where the osmosis
employment.
Yeah.
How
was just go by that law?
Direct opposition to equal opportunity employment. That's what
here's the deal. I have known incredible. Okay, Germs, you know what I think of you as a tech. You're amazing. But my old company had an even more amazing tech. You may not believe it, but he was just fantastic. He was white, though, and the HR person literally said to him, "You will never be promoted because you're white." That's wrong. I'm sorry. That's wrong. And I grant that's only an anecdotal thing, but you hear it from tons and tons of people. I've had it said to me myself. That's wrong. That's discrimination. We're not demonizing DEI. DEI is being used as a very insidious thing to divide us.
I believe that. Yeah.
If it was being used the way it's quote unquote supposed to be, and don't get me wrong, there is still racism. There is still, people who discriminate against blacks and gays, and that's all wrong and all needs to be stopped. But the DEI agenda has nothing to do with advancing the well-being of blacks or women or gays. It is simply a divisive thing to weaken our country.
I think you're spot on. Again, when you get into a field and the company hires DEI hires, and you look at a person and you wonder, did you get the job because of the color of your skin, or are you actually qualified? That's not good.
It's not. There's plenty of
field or whether it's a truck driver. My company, any company in Oklahoma doesn't have a whole lot of opportunity to hire anybody other than white fellas. For white folks, it's just I know there's some black, there's some red, there's some yellows, there's some browns here, but predominantly where I live, it's
going to be hard to hire a black person in Nash.
Not a lot of them.
There's like 5, I think.
Well, every town I've ever lived in, there's only ever been in my entire life. I'm 54 now. In my entire life, I've lived in a town that had a family of black people for no more than a single year in 2 different instances. So out of 54 years of life, I've lived in a town that had a black family twice.
Yeah.
And it's not, I always treated them very nicely. I just never got a chance to get to know any of them because they moved on, so.
Germ says, I disagree about Kamala just being a DEI hire. She ran in the previous election, gave Joe a tough time. You must be watching something distinctly different from what I watched.
Well, no, she did. I mean, on their debates on stage, she told Joe what a piece of shit he was, and he wasn't worth being president. And I mean, she's just the same as any primary debate goes. They all tell each other how poor they are. I mean, why do you think Trump calls DeSantis the sanctimonious and what was what's her head, bird brain or whatever he called her? You know, he came up with names for all of them. You know, Kamala did the same thing with Joe. Joe did the same thing with Kamala. But when Joe came out and said, I'm going to pick a running mate, and it's going to be a woman of color, just same thing he did with the Supreme Court nominee, who, by the way, is a woman that can't define what a woman is. We don't even want to go there, but she can't. She said so. So I appreciate your opinion that she's not a DEI hire. My opinion is that she is absolutely a DEI hire. The fact that she got the fewest amount of votes in the previous, well,
see, that's what I'm referring to. I thought
fewest amount Democrat primary, dropped out immediately. And then in the second time, when she did run for president, she didn't get any votes. Proving to, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, me,
she didn't get any votes during the primary. Yeah. We got to remember, well, they'll get pedantic on us, Gary.
I'm sorry.
So, they'll get pedantic on us, Gary. They'll be like, she got lots of votes when she ran for, but she didn't get any votes in the primary because she didn't run.
Yeah.
In the primary.
No, the Democrat Party, and again, this is where I'm not upset with Democrats, but I'm upset with the party because they dictated to their constituents who their presidential candidate would be because they wanted to lie about Joe's incompetence, not incompetence, probably, but
his
dementia,
yeah,
which makes him incompetent, I suppose. But
it does.
Again,
but it does.
Another topic for another story. But I mean, that's being investigated, so it needs to be.
Oh yeah, and one of the guys who hopped up and down to people about, oh, I'm not going to listen to you say that he's this.
I was thinking that, but
see, that's where I was thinking.
Yeah,
she did terrible, but yeah. But I get your point. He did give him a hard time in the debates. And then Tulsi Gabbard eviscerated her, but evidently nobody cares about that.
I know nobody cares about it, especially if
I loved it. Say what? I'm sorry.
I said I know somebody that cares about it.
I do. The delay between the chat responses makes it difficult to keep a thread. Yeah,
it does. Now, I hope Germs, because I'm trying to read what Curtis puts up on the TV screen. Because I think that I hope that helps you guys with it, because I see that it pops up on my phone a lot faster than it pops up on the TV, but I don't know how else to help. But I will say I'm his conservative friend that he reads those off for, because I listen to it the next morning because I'm typically in bed by now. And so he reads those off. I asked him, I said, man, you answer these questions in the thread, and I have no idea what y'all are talking about. so he does. I in my mind, he does it for me as I'm driving down the road listening to the.
Well, I do some for you, but mostly it's for the audience, because I know that I like to be recognized when I'm in a chat.
Makes you feel special.
It does. And so I feel like, at least as long as I'm able to, and it's getting harder and harder to do, which is a good problem to have. I'm not meaning to whine, but it is, as I get more followers, it is getting harder and harder. And it's going to come to a point where eventually I will have to stop responding to everybody. But
well, you just pull out the ones that you want to talk about or are pertinent. Because right now everybody says hi to everybody, and you get to read that off. But as you gain in popularity, that's going to that'll be the first thing you'll cut out. You say,
right,
buddy, right. Thanks for being here. Oh, Germ says the delay is okay. You read that one and going. But I think you're doing a great job. I think your podcast is coming along. You pay for the
pay your share angle. It dates to around the 1840s. Karl Marx wrote about it. In those days, there were no regular taxes. People above 70% of income bracket, they didn't pay taxes. It was kind of the reverse back then. It was the poor that paid taxes, not the rich. And Darth Plato was saying,
interesting. I'll be honest. That's way. I don't know a whole lot. If the slogan's still thrown around. Yeah, it is different today. The Darth Plato. The thing I like about the way they do it today is they want to use. The funny thing about statistics is you get to twist those to whatever benefits you. They will use the rich only pay 1%. Well, if they're worth $10 billion, 1% of $10 billion is a whole hell of a lot more taxes than what I pay. There's more money than what I make. So is that their fair share? So they want to use percentages when it benefits them, or they'll use the dollar amounts when that benefits them. So I think I don't know. I don't think there is an easy answer to it, but I do like the idea. I was watching several things about the tariffs that he keeps. That's his favorite word in the English dictionary. If you
tariff.
Tariffs. There you go. It's almost like China.
China.
But before income tax was a thing, and maybe Darth Plato can tell us what year that happened, because it was I want to say like 17 or 18, somewhere in that time frame. Before there was actually an income tax, the government made their money solely off of tariffs, right? So I'm not opposed to us going back to that. And everybody wants to complain, well, that would cause a trade war. Well, I would argue that in a trade war, we are the largest consumer market in the world, so we've got a better hand to play than everybody else does. So it may suck to be another country, but I don't live in another country, so that's not my problem.
Gary has an amazing radio voice.
Yeah, I did want to thank Germs is saying it now. Gorilla said it earlier that, and I've been told that before. I have done a few things, but anybody that wants to use my voice, let me know. I'll read anything you want. So I've been used and abused for my voice in the past.
Let's see here.
Hey, while Germs is up there, and it gets me to thinking, because it's why one of the reasons I asked earlier where he was from, I thought it might be fun because you're always asking your paid Patreon customers. By the way, if you're enjoying the podcast and you're not subscribed, please do so now, because Curtis won't ask you to do it. Please like this particular video because it boosts my ego to make me feel better. And go to Curtis's Patreon thing. You can get a 7-day free thing, and he's always trying to figure out how to make it more fun for his paid Patreon subscribers. And one of the things I think, hey, let's have a picnic. Why don't we all get face to face? I mean, y'all get to see my face, but Germs, I have no idea what you look like. Don't look like it, Jay. You might be a little crooked on the bottom and have a little dot on the top.
Germs looks really cool. It's like Germs looks like I would if I looked cool. So,
so he's got your little hat and
no, he doesn't have the hat, but he's bald, but he's in better shape than I am, and I don't hate him for it at all.
Hey, round dude.
He's not round. I mean, I don't know that he's like cut, but he's in good shape. So compared to me, anyway. Your wife.
We're actually lucky enough the other day that we got to meet up for lunch at Napoli's in Enid. So
yeah, thank you. And
what are you sad about, Shannon?
Sad for you being apart on the anniversary.
Oh, I love you so much. And just in case you wondered what a King Charles, a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel looked like, There's two of those. Those are our dogs in her picture. So
Oh, those are beautiful dogs.
they're beautiful dogs. They're about 12. The one on the bottom is Ginger. She's about 12 pounds. And Lawrence, who's one of my favorite bloggers, by the way, Lawrence Brown, Lost in the Pond. Go watch that one. He is about 15, maybe 16 pounds, something like that.
Counting sheep, think of how many lab rats are going to have to detransition. It is a tragedy. It's a tragedy.
I love that.
Gorillas, what's your thoughts on the solution for the student loan issue? Do they have to pay it back the principal but forgive the interest? What is your I know that you disagree with me on the student loans, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, I've got a few solutions. I mean, Trump's not going to call an ass, so it doesn't really make any difference. Because I had some great solutions for the illegal immigrant issue that he didn't call and ask about either. But they knowingly took it out. I do think it was somewhat of a predatory loan in the way they do it. I went to college, but I worked full-time job the whole time I was in. For the semester I was in, and the second semester I would work 2 full-time jobs. The summer I would work 2 full-time jobs, not go to school, and then I'd go back the next semester and I would pay for my tuition. And because I didn't have nice enough parents to teach me anything about finances, so I didn't know I could get a loan to pay for tuition. I didn't know I could get grant. I couldn't get grants. My dad made too much money. He just wouldn't share it with me.
Right.
So I had those kind of issues. My wife, on the other hand, got loans. She was a single mother raising 4 children, put herself through college, got her bachelor's degree, and now she's off training in some Air Force base in Biloxi, and still owes money on her student loans. So my personal experience with this is on both sides of it. She took that loan out knowing she needed to pay it back. Now, being a predatory loan, I'm okay with forgiving the interest, or at least making the interest a reasonable amount of interest, doing something. But again, I don't like government interference with shit. Leave it alone, make them pay it back. Damn sure don't pay it off. We have had too many soldiers sacrifice so that they could go to college on the GI Bill. If these folks want the student loans paid off, let them make that sacrifice. They can give 4 years to our government if they're not hardy enough individuals to be like myself. They would not take me as a soldier. If you're like me and they won't take you as a soldier, I am sure there is something in the government you can do for 4 years to pay your loan back.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I know you guys were talking about, I don't remember when that one was. I watched that one this morning, the Star Trek Starship Troopers one. But that was a dream. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't mind that at all. I don't like it because that grows government, but I like it better than just going, my name's Joe Biden. You don't have to pay it back. Supreme Court said you do. Fuck the Supreme Court. I'm the president. You don't have to pay it back. It doesn't work that way, dude.
Northern Okie is making an interesting point. Let's see what we think about this. Representative Frank Lucas recently said Doge is going about it the wrong way, firing worker bees, an early retirement for the institutional memory, the wisdom, leaving only the bureaucrats. What do you think about that?
That is one of my concerns, is getting rid of the people that have been around for, when you get, he'll agree that one of the things we preach in our motorcycle group in ABATE is you want to train your replacement. So if all the old hats go before, if they're offered early retirement, but where I think this is wrong is they didn't offer early retirement. That's not what they offered. My wife has been working for the Air Force for 14 months, 16 months, not very long. She was offered the same thing. It's not retirement. She's not old enough to. She is old. She's very old, but she's not old enough. She's older than me. I mean, look at this. She's old. She's older than all this. The Uncle Jesse beard.
Gorillas. These people couldn't type out a quick 2-minute email, but had time to book a time on CNN to gripe about the email.
Yes, they did. Again, that was one of my comments earlier, that I'd take 90 seconds to be like the one guy did. I don't think I would ever tell anybody I sucked a 12-inch dick, but I might tell them that. I could be wrong. I might tell them that.
Germs, the biggest mistakes were firing vets, the nuclear jobs, which I did hear about the nuclear jobs, and funding for contracts, private businesses that were in progress. The lack of precision is alarming.
The number of vets that were fired were so minuscule. I don't know anything about the nuclear jobs. You'd have to clue me in on that one. I do have a topic on the nuclear thing that we were talking about today. One of the radio hosts I listened to, Germs, I don't know if you listen to him, 96.9, the local guy in the morning. Jake Merrick from 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning on 96.9. He talks a lot about the local stuff going on. And one of the things they brought up was the nuclear power plants, how China's really building a lot of them, as well as the coal-powered plants. But they're building a lot of nuclear. We need to do it. One of the guys came on and said he worked at a nuclear plant. And he says the easiest way to get the public to buy off on that, because that's the whole reason, is the public doesn't want nuclear in their backyard because they don't want Hiroshima or Nagasaki to happen to them. I don't blame them. I don't either. He says, just change the name up to fission. A fission power plant will be approved immediately.
That does seem like words matter, even though people often use them in an inexact fashion, and I'm sure I do too. Space Fraggle, go ahead.
Businesses. Would that be like the one that Joe Biden canceled on building the wall? I'm thinking that's what it was. I agree that the lack of precision is alarming, but when you come in and you're 85 bazillion trillion Google-ish number, I don't know, in debt, my household is in debt X amount of dollars. So guess what? We don't have cable. We don't have a landline. I didn't go out and buy solar panels. All these things I'd like to have. I would like to have another Indian motorcycle. We don't have all these things. I'd like to have bought my wife an Excursion instead of the Explorer that she bought. We don't have all these things because we can't afford them. The United States of America is fucking broke. We can't afford this shit. You got to cut some of it, and it sucks. It would be so much more fun if we could afford all of these things. You could have gay river dancers go over to Ireland. You could have transsexuals doing whatever in Zimbabwe. I don't care. But we just can't afford it.
Well, no, Gary, you're thinking all wrong. We can just continue to print infinite money. And then we got it. We got all the money we need. Space Fraggle.
The Starship, I didn't hear. I heard it.
Yeah, I looked it up just now. It's about an hour ago, something like that.
Breaking news by Space Fraggle.
Yeah, an intrepid reporter.
You know, here's the funny thing. You want to. I feel like Space Fraggle. Didn't you say you were outnumbered and leaving earlier? My wife.
He's gained bravery since there's some people.
No. But I feel like he's kind of poking fun a little bit at SpaceX. But understand this. It wasn't reported. I didn't hear much about it, but until today, because I don't know if it was because they were doing this launch with the Starship thing. You know, it's an experimental thing. It's the reason they did it the way they did it, right? You think
unmanned
things may go bad. That's why they did it. Yeah. But anyway, don't we have 2 Americans stranded on the International Space Station right now?
Yes.
They've been there for 9 months. They're supposed to have been there for 9 days.
Yes, or at least much less than 9 months.
And let me think. There's this guy that owns this rocket ship company that said, I can bring them home. And our last president wouldn't allow him to try. Did you know that?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
Oh, I missed that one. I'm sorry. But how fucked up is that? All because this guy supports the bad orange man.
Well, if
you're going to sacrifice 2 astronauts' lives.
Well, because we can't get over our animosity for each other. This is where, look, I still am a supporter of Kennedy. I was going to vote for him. And then he threw his support behind Trump. And I absolutely understand why he did that. And I think I still hold to his response. We have to love our children more than we hate Trump. And I often wonder if we're ever going to get there. I'm not saying, I know Trump sometimes makes it hard. Sometimes he says stuff, like I say, that first watch of the video with Zelensky, I was like, oh, what the hell was this? But then the more I watched it,
man, I watched that and I watched it again. I'm like they just kept talking over the guy that doesn't speak English. I mean, he does, but it's not his first language.
yeah.
And, yeah, I really figured we'd rehash that a whole lot tonight. But I was on board with jumping on Trump on that one because I really more Vance. So I thought Vance was pretty harsh, but then when you go back and you rewatch it and you learn a little bit of the history of how things went, and I think there's a lot of that goes on that, I'm going to use an analogy that everybody that's listening is going to hate. Northern Oakley might, if he's still listening, he'll understand it. But at football, I'm an adamant Notre Dame fan. I keep up with Notre Dame as much or more than I keep up with politics. And we have such a horrible fan base. They know better by watching the team that plays for 4 hours once a week for 12 weeks a year. Now it's 16 if they're lucky, or 17 if they're unlucky, I suppose. Lucky but unlucky. But anyway, however many times they play, a fan gets to watch that team perform 4 hours a week. And that fan thinks he knows better than the guy getting paid $10 million that watches them for 8 hours a day and then goes home and watches film for 10 more hours a day and then sleeps for a couple hours and does it again.
Yep.
We're the same way. We get to see a snippet of what goes on in the Oval Office. We get to see a snippet of what goes on in the chambers. I don't know too many people that actually watch. I think it's simulcast on satellite TV somewhere. You can watch the goings on in all the different committees.
Yeah.
Holy folks, would that make your eyes bleed? I mean, you'd be.
Oh, I would have to commit ritual.
Yeah.
Unalizing if I did that.
Yeah. Tabuki. I know what. Yeah. What the samurais do when they dishonor themselves. But anyway, yeah, it'd just be horrible. So we catch the little snippets of our pundits or the echo chambers that we live in tell us what they've seen, and that's about it, And so I trust that the coach is doing the best, what they think is the best for the team. Our coach right now, like him or hate him, is the bad orange man. I honestly believe he's doing what he thinks is best. The majority of Americans, according to the CNN poll, think he's doing a better job than not. So I don't know. He's only been there doing it for 6 weeks now. So let's see.
Yeah, roughly according to CNN, roughly 7 in 10 speech watchers said they had at least a somewhat positive reaction.
And that really surprises me because I know he says he's a Republican, but he's a never Trumper. And so, okay, I'm going to call you a rhino but me and him got into a little discussion yesterday about it. And he said Trump was a narcissist and he couldn't hardly stand listening to it. And he's a worthless piece of shit that hasn't accomplished anything he promised he'd accomplish. I'm like, I don't agree with you, but I appreciate your opinion.
Right.
I think the term was bless your heart.
Right on. Don't use grok, it will explode. Every dollar we give to the government. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Help me out with grok. I don't understand.
Oh, grok is it's an AI tool on Twitter. I've only experimented with it once. I probably need to try it some more because I use AIs to develop my thumbnails, and sometimes they give me great results and sometimes they make me sad. So
I agree with that one, Germs. I don't every dollar I give the government, I expect them to waste, because that's what they've been doing for my whole life. So, and not just monetarily waste it. They give it to people, and they really flaunt the way they waste it.
Darth Plato, the government is not supposed to have assets unto itself.
Is that written somewhere?
Probably. Knowing Darth Plato, it probably is.
Land is an asset. There's federal land, and I'm grateful. I mean, one of the things the wife and I did last year was we toured Yellowstone and Grand Tetons, Bighorn Mountains. All this federal land is just absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, Teddy Roosevelt. You know, so the government's not supposed to have assets unto itself. I mean, they got to have tanks and battleships and aircraft, and those are all assets to me. I want more. Help me out, Darth Plato. I want more.
Yeah. Counting sheep, this anti-sheep bigotry is shameful.
Hey, I wear a kilt as often as possible.
Germs, I drive a Tesla for a few reasons. It's an amazing vehicle, way more efficient than a hybrid or ICE car, no maintenance. I can charge at home cheaper than the pump, and burning fossil fuels is dumb.
I love all of that. Now, my concern on the Tesla, Shannon's youngest daughter was going to buy an electric car. She didn't ever specify what brand, and it doesn't make much difference to me. One of the things I was concerned about was the charging station at home. If you sell your house and you moved, it's not just a 110 or 220 normal plug-in at home, right? So I honestly don't know much about them. I'm fairly fascinated by them because I do think I agree. I think it's an amazing vehicle, and not just Teslas, just electric vehicles. The torque that they have. I'm not really a horsepower junkie or like to really go fast, but I do like good performance, and I think that's kind of interesting. And the no maintenance. I went to O'Reilly's for an oil change in my diesel truck because I love burning fossil fuels, and my wife's gas-powered Explorer, and I bought a battery for my Harley. It cost me $350 to get out of there with oil filters for both vehicles, battery for my motorcycle. So the no maintenance thing would be awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
But I'm curious on the charger thing, because that's one of the things I've heard, and I don't know, I've not investigated it, but I am curious that the installing the charger at your home is really, really expensive to do. And so if you moved, do you have to do it again and again every time you move? I think that would suck. So, and I also thought about going with propane, changing my diesel truck over to propane fuel, but then the fueling stations for propane are far and few between, and that was one of the concerns. But I've seen a lot of Tesla charging stations, and I understand they charge a lot faster than they used to now as well. So I want to meet up with Germs. I'll let him ride a motorcycle that lets me drive his Tesla.
Oh, I think you both would have fun with that. Just don't talk politics when you get together, and you'll be fun.
Right. I appreciate his opinion and actually value it. He's got a different opinion on everything, most things probably, and I'll learn something from talking with him. I'm okay with that.
There you go. They completely changed the layout of the debt clock at usdebtclock.org. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
.org.com.org. That's going to do this to me, won't it? Yep, of course it will. There are some things about StreamYard I just don't like. But anyhow. So here's the Doge clock. They're, according to it anyway, they're up to $171 billion.
Where's your curve? You're looking at something. I don't know what you're looking at.
Oh, is it not showing up in the share?
Shit, I don't know.
Okay, it's
So
like
much
right
on there.
here is the Doge clock. Here's the U.S. national debt. What was it? One of my other
There's a
people-
U.S. total debt, 102. U.S. national. Well, I wish I could read better. It's an eyesight thing. I can actually put letters together and make words.
It was something down here that he said was what was the most important thing to look at. It may have been the total debt, but that's 102. Where are we at?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, there's your cursor thing. Your little finger.
102
A whole
billion.
bunch. That's
Yeah.
trillion.
Is that a trillion?
Yeah, there's hundreds, thousands, millions.
You're
billions.
right.
102
$102
Yeah.
trillion dollars. How is that even sustainable?
It's not. That's the whole thing. Where's the one where it shows how much interest we owe? I mean, that's the thing that kills me. We're paying so much in interest, and who are we paying that to? Who's getting that check? What bank?
That I don't know. I
want
I'm
to become
sure
a withdrawer from that bank.
the Chinese, some rich Americans, some. I'm not sure who it all is going to.
Well, there's the Doge clock. There's 171
billion. So I mean, that's what they're claiming, and their audience is saying that that's totally off. But like I say, I don't. Who do you believe? I don't know. And this is supposed to be the interest on the debt. $1 trillion is what the interest is now.
Interesting.
Obama and Clinton. Yeah, we talked about this on one of the earlier shows. Obama and Clinton did the same thing as Doge, cleaned up government corruption, the size of government. Experts arrived from Silicon Valley then to do the research. Doge is only okay if a Democrat POTUS does it, and bad if a Republican POTUS does it. And I'm strongly inclined to agree. For some reason, it was good when Clinton did it, and I do think it was good mostly.
Well,
when he did it.
The problem with what Clinton did is he got rid of all the government employees and hired all non-government. He hired all these contractors to replace them with.
Yes.
And so, I mean, what he fired like 377,000 people.
Oh, well, yeah, but that was across the course of 4 years.
Sure.
That was the thing that was pointed out too. That he didn't do it in just like a month. He did it in 4 years.
Okay, so he did it, 80,000 people a year, and that makes it okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's Slick Willie, I mean, that makes it all right. Democrats don't care what another Democrat. They're never going to point a finger at that.
Nope.
But and people may say I'm a Republican. I'm not pointing any fingers at Republicans do anything wrong. But I think I said something about how unpresidential it was for Trump to call people names, and I have begged, although not yet tonight, for anybody to show me any of these like USAID programs that are Republican programs. Show me some wasteful spending that's done by Republicans. I really want to roast a Republican. You guys just help me out. Find me one. I'll take
Germs will find it. He'll do it. The point is that Doge isn't finding as much as it thinks it is. As the lawsuits roll in, the proof is coming with them.
And where I disagree with you, Germs, on that is it's not the total of what they're finding, no more than it is the total on what is being spent. We spend $100, but the interest on the $100 racks up to being this before we get it paid off. Therefore, if they're knocking off the $18 billion that I think some Democrats are willing to agree that it's at least that much 2 weeks ago, the total then becomes 56 because we can't pay off $18 billion to save our life, apparently. If we could, we wouldn't be paying $1 trillion in interest, according to this thing. I guess that's what that one is. I don't know. Whatever the number is, it's astronomical that if we don't start cutting deep, cutting painfully deep, it's just not gonna slow down.
Uh,
And the other point that I want to make is that it is a very nice museum. She says, "Wow, she is way behind." The point for me for Doge is Democrats won't give them any credit for finding trillions of dollars in savings. They only want to say their numbers.
well, this was the thing that I got from Megyn Kelly on Bill Maher. You know, it just everything that she'd say, he would have some, well, yeah, but this, or yeah, but that. And finally she was like, okay, great. So, you know, Biden did all this wonderful stuff and Trump just did everything awful. You can't give him credit for anything. And it
Anything.
shut
Yeah.
him up because it's the truth.
How many hostages does Trump have to get returned before he gets credit for doing something good? How much savings, how many billions of dollars of savings does Doge have to do before we can get some credit for having done something good? How many illegals have to be stopped at the border before Trump can get any kind of credit for accomplishing anything good? How much fentanyl, how many lives from fentanyl drugs being overdosed, killed, do we have to save before Trump gets some kind of credit for doing something good? I mean, there's all kinds of things to this nature. Trump is the one trying to stop the war, trying to stop Ukrainians, Russians, and apparently North Koreans from dying on the battlefield. Isn't that a liberal policy? Is we want peace at all costs? And now all of a sudden you've got Pocahontas clapping for 5 more years of war. Let's go 5 more years of war. Let's give more, a couple hundred more billions of dollars to extend the war longer. How come it's the Republican that wants peace? Yeah, he won't say bad things about Putin. It's really hard to get somebody that you've called a poo-poo head to come to the table to talk peace, to want to negotiate with you. If you call me all kinds of bad names, I might come to the table, but it's probably not going to be for peace talks. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm the kind of guy who's going to come to the table because I want to see you eyeball to eyeball so I can punch you in the nose.
That tactic worked really well for my ex-wife. Made for a solid marriage. Germs, the Obama-Clinton cuts were done by asking the agencies to identify and implement cuts. The way DOJ is doing it and some of the executive orders are much less informed and in some cases are illegal. What's your response to that?
Well, I haven't seen any cases in which they've been found to be illegal yet. So if they've been found to be illegal, and in some cases you're claiming in some cases they are illegal, show me some receipts for that, and I will, again, I'm not calling you a liar. I think you believe what you're putting there, but I think somebody lied to you because the lies I think you were spreading earlier, still I haven't seen any receipts for.
Well, and to be fair, they can't share it. They can't share it in the chat. So to be fair.
But he can type it in here. Hey, I found it.
They can't share it because they don't have a wrench, and I'm like being a jerk and not giving.
Okay. Oh, that's
wrenches up to
everybody wrench. That'd go crazy, you know.
Yeah, I've done that in the past, and I've kind of learned. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little.
And for the less informed part, let's see, when the Clintons left the White House knowing they were informed they had to vacate the White House, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they not only steal the china, but they stole every W out of the entire building, including
I have heard that.
Keyboard off every computer. And when W was coming in and they just couldn't, that was just the worst thing ever. And so you don't always want to give people you're firing a notice that they're being fired.
Right on.
Most people that get fired for inefficiency have never admitted that their job was that they were inefficient at their job.
Right on.
So
I'm always efficient at my job.
Not me. I'm about as but I only get paid 25% of what my truck makes. So if I'm inefficient, I just make less money. So it's,
Yeah, exactly. Germs DEI is a response to discrimination. The hope would be that time would render both irrelevant. What's your take on that, Gary?
I think much like Obama, people thought when he was elected that would help resolve a lot of the race issues. I think it did the opposite, and I think DEI. I think I believe it's naive of folks to think the implementation of DEI is there to make racial tensions irrelevant. I believe I think you're naive in thinking that. I think the people that implemented DEI want that racial divide, is what I think. Because if they didn't want the racial divide, they wouldn't hire people based on race. They would hire based on merit, not allowing race to play a role in that. They would prop people up that were doing the best job, regardless of what color they were. And again, equal opportunity employment, that's a law. You have to do it that way. Complain that Doge is cutting spending indiscriminately. Democrat playbook. Yes. Run to liberal judges to block Doge. And that's something else that I think, number 2 there for accounting sheet, that when a district judge can give orders to the entire country, that's fucked up. That I don't. Both sides do it, and it's fucked up. That's something.
Yeah, I agree. I'm okay with the judges stopping some of it, but if it is true, as has been reported in some places, that they've stopped for a while the Treasury Department from looking at their own documents, I call bullshit.
Well, in the Supreme Court ruled today, in what do they call it when they do it quickly? They got a word for it. But anyway, actually against Doge and against Trump on the foreign aid that was already budgeted to be spent, I think. Trump stopped to it, and the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that he couldn't.
Okay.
So, and I don't think they released the names of who voted which direction, but I'm guessing Roberts voted with the liberals. But
yeah, I don't have much problem with that. It's just a district judge, or frankly, even the Supreme Court, anybody saying that the Treasury Department can't look at their own documents.
Yeah, that's
no. That's
well,
bullshit.
That my conspiracy brain says that is only a delaying tactic so that they get a chance to cover the tracks a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I mean, hey, it was a conspiracy that the Hunter laptop wasn't really Hunter's; it was Russian plant. So
it was a Russian plant, Gary. Didn't you know?
Russia.
I am Russian asset. I can tell you, I planted it.
There you go. See,
all those photographs of Hunter with prostitute was actually me, and they photoshopped Hunter's head over mine. What one night. I would love to do it again. Curtis, how many times do you think people are passed over for promotion because they were non-white? One, Germs, you're painfully close to making it personal. Don't think that our friendship will allow me to allow that to happen on my channel. I know that happened.
Yeah, no, anybody that thinks it doesn't happen is just fooling themselves. That's just another naivety that the left wants to believe. A buddy of mine's brother, let me see, he's not really a buddy anymore, but his brother was a detective in the New York Police Department. They couldn't make detective because they had to give it to the black guy.
Yeah, it happened in the past. But now doing it to the whites, punishing this generation for what the last generation did, that's not justice. It's still injustice. And it was a personal injustice done to me. So be a little bit careful about stomping on
and I'm curious, again, not the intellectual guy that the rest of you guys might be. Just like redlining. What's redlining? Help me out.
Let's look it up.
legislation and policies came in response. But you say that, but I went to bed when I was a youngster, when I would stay up later and I was supposed to stay up. And as the TV would sign off, they would say they hired people not based on nationality, creed, race, sex, all of these things, because they were an equal opportunity employer. So that's been around for a long time. I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm not.
It's
20.
been all around longer than we've been alive. And has it been implemented perfectly? No. Can we do better? Yes.
Well,
I
but
would.
that thou shalt not kill hasn't been implemented perfectly either. There's still people killing each other, you know.
Yeah.
So you're never going to legislate people into not breaking the laws. What you need to do is when they break the fucking law, throw their asses in jail or hang them from a rope or whatever the punishment.
Find some kind of appropriate punishment.
There you go.
That meets the crime.
Judge them by their peers.
Gorilla Censored Thoughts. Didn't the J6ers get 20 years for obstructing official proceeding? Should all of these Democrats protesting and singing obstructing House business today to the point they had recess? Shouldn't there be equal justice? I mean, it's a point, justice under the law and all.
Well, but that wasn't a peaceful protest. That was an unpeaceful protest, whereas all the riots going on and when they set up the autonomous zone in Oregon and Portland, I think it was, wasn't it? Right? Where they set up the autonomous zone where they were just killing people and they dumped the bodies at the wall and they'd come to call the morgue.
Yeah, that was the peaceful protest.
Yeah, that was a peaceful protest. So we don't need to prosecute anybody for that.
Yeah.
So anyway, redlining. What do we got redlining?
Oh, redlining is it's withholding of credit, insurance, healthcare, and other services from minority neighborhoods. Again, I was thrown out of a hospital once because I was white, poor, and had no insurance. I'll never forget it. Yeah, I know bad things happen to blacks in the past, still happen, but does doing a bad thing to me make that right? How does that make it right? I'm just saying. Colin from all accounts?
Yes. Oh, Colin from accounts. The sheep, like accounting sheep. I commented way a long time ago, like an hour and 15 minutes or so, about there was a show about a girl that flashed a guy and she ran over the dog and they got the dog, and it's called Colin from Accounts. Get a chance to watch it. It's funny. Anyway. I have no idea why her that was a long time ago.
I'm not a wrench. I'm your. I don't remember what is that from a movie or.
I have no idea.
Kamala gave Biden a hard time, much same way Velcro gives Biden a hard time. The bar is set very low.
Oh,
wait, these are both the fuzzy side. Come on, man.
That's, in all seriousness, I feel so bad for Biden. What I don't feel bad for and what I'm pissed off about is who the hell has been running our country while
whoever was.
And I want, again, we'll never find out. It's going to be buried just like the JFK files on who actually shot John F. Kennedy. But we'll never know who was running the country.
No.
It'd be nice. I just don't think we'll ever find out.
No, I agree. And like I say, I don't wish dementia on anybody. I'm not gloating about Biden having it. I think it sucks. I think it's sad. But I'm with you. Whoever the hell was running this country, they do need to be held accountable some way. But we'll never know. You're right. We'll never know. Darth Plato, the defense for DEI and other stuff in academia reduces to a number of things. The premise that human history has dominated the world for the past 500 years. So we will cut off POC. I don't know what that is. POC cultures at the knees.
I was keeping my mouth shut on it, hoping you would tell me. I have no idea. Pop culture. I don't know.
I feel really ignorant at the moment. To see, this is why Darth Plato is awesome. He knows some really spiffy things.
I'm gonna go with the she part still. So you
POC, point click care. That's probably not it. Public Service Company of Oklahoma. That's probably not it.
POC, not PCC, right? Yeah.
Yeah, POC. Political POC. I don't know. I feel like I should know what that is, and I'm going to feel like a dumbass when I'm told. But
I've heard you say that before.
The Democrats sunk, and this I totally agree with, Germs, without any equivocation. The Democrats sunk themselves by not kicking Joe to the curb and letting the electorate choose their candidate. I 100% agree. I would not be hopping up and down quite as much.
No, I wouldn't at all, because you guys choose whoever you want. That's fine. Not necessarily you. You're an independent, but in Oklahoma, you'd get to vote on that. But anyway, yeah, I can't believe that in Article 25 even kick him out, and the Democrats would have gotten their victory of having the first woman president, which I thought, I guess I'd have to say female because they don't know what women are, but I thought that was one of their goals in life, was to get the first black guy in, even though he's really Hawaiian, and to get the first black gal in, even though she's actually Indian. It depends on what month you ask her what race she is. But I mean, I'm still flabbergasted that they didn't do that. I'm with you, Germs. And I think as a result of that, and maybe you've got a different take on it, I'd love to hear it, is that I think the Democrats are still floundering. That's the word that I came up with. Or, I mean, it's up that word, but anyway, I think they're still floundering because I think they're lacking leadership right now. Pelosi stepped down from leading the House, and is it Hakeem Jeffries? What's his name? The guy leading it now is really not. He's allowing the remaining squad members to run amok, and I just think they're out of touch with reality. They're still wanting to push all of this really woke agenda shit down our throats, and I think the majority of the American people are sick to death of it. They just don't want it, and I don't know. Like I say, I think they're really lacking strong leadership, and I'm going to celebrate that personally, because I was terrified that if Trump doesn't get his shit done in 2 years, that he's going to lose the House, at least, maybe the Senate too. Who knows? History shows that's typically what happens.
Yeah.
At the rate he's going, he's still on a honeymoon with the American people, because the Democrats keep fucking up. I mean, between the little placards, the Al Green getting tossed out, Pocahontas clapping for 5 more years of war.
Yay!
And all that happened in one night, for crying out loud. So wearing pink in support of women's rights, but refusing to vote for something that would guarantee women's sports survive.
Yeah. Jason Jones, Doge. Let's see what we think about this point. When every hour an IRS agent spends examining a corporate tax record increases revenue by $1,800, they should not be on the layoff list unless it's a handout to rich donors.
They've got their own conspiracy theory.
They do.
It comes true like all of ours has.
My thought on that: has any IRS agents been laid off? Let me look that up.
Well, my understanding, any of them that have been on the job less than a year, the short answer is going to be yes.
Oh, well, then only very technically.
So, and that's, to me, that's not a layoff. That's just not a hire. When you get a job and you're on the temporary hire list, you're not a full-time employee until you've been there for a year. with the federal government, apparently, which I still think
Yeah.
is pretty lengthy. But
So far, the most accurate thing, or I think the most accurate thing I'm seeing is this. So let me, and my apologies if my judgment
well,
is
and I'm going to
poor.
analyze his statement.
Go for it.
Let's say an IRS agent works 40 hours a week, because that seems to be fairly normal. I happen to know an IRS lawyer, so I could I'll call and ask. But when he spends 40 hours at work, how many of those hours is he examining corporate tax records to get that increase in revenue by $1,800? I mean,
That's something else to ask that IRS guy.
because I mean, the fact of the matter is, if he's at work 40 hours a week and he's only spending 15 minutes a week on it, or an hour a month on it, then yeah, I'd say his ass needs to get out the door, because there's probably 20% of those people doing 80% of the work.
Yes.
And the other 80% could probably go out the door, and we would probably become more efficient. I'm just guessing, just throwing random numbers out.
It's the Pareto efficiency. It's an established thing. I mean, it's just universal.
And universal for a reason, because more than likely your statement is accurate. But then you've got to find out, it's like, I know some truck drivers that I talk to from time to time that make, $2,000 a day. But how many days do they work every month? 3 or 4?
If they only work a few.
Yeah. So are they really making that much money? Well, sure.
So the IRS plans to lay off 7,000, which is a pretty high number, but these are probationary workers. Now, granted, the tax season is starting.
Well, and 7,000 sounds like a large number, but if they've got, I don't know, 1 million employees, 7,000 is not very many.
According to another AP article,
Well,
the IRS has a 90,000 person workforce. So evidently less than 10% are probationary. And I know, again, that seems like a high number, but to me, if you're laying off your 7,000 least experienced, let's just say I'm really not going to listen to any complaints personally. If it was half of it, which this other AP article says that there's thoughts that it could happen, then that might be a different story. But if it's only 7,000, cry me a river, IRS. They jilted one of our friends out of thousands of dollars. I really don't care. Sorry. Gorillas, his incompetence. There's a postmodern. Oh, Darth Plato, he's got a really good thread here. There's a postmodernist trend to push groups of power aside to the margins in favor of the marginalized. It's a Marxist worldview. And this is all actually true. This is
sure. Well, it's what you have to do to make everything even, right?
Yes. The synthesis, antithesis, and synthesis says, and this is all Marx and Hegel, all of it, the replacing white males with people of color. That's what POC is.
Hey, I knew you.
Hey, I figured something out. Be impressed. Replace white males with people of color groups. That's necessary for the country to, quote unquote, heal. As for the 60s, it used to be that it was hard for blacks, people of color, to get hired because it was easy to get away with denying them employment. Civil rights, which was a good thing, lessened those barriers. And your president of Notre Dame was part of that.
He was actually one of my favorite things about Father Ted. He is very liberal, but other than being the fastest priest to ever live,
yes,
that was amazing. He was the if you look up Father Theodore Hesburgh, affectionately known amongst the student body as Father Ted. he got to fly an SR-71 Blackbird at the age of like, you remember how old he was, Curtis? 61 or 62?
He was something like that.
He was in his 60s. But anyway, he was a civil rights activist. If there's a picture of him hanging in the Smithsonian, if you remember the photograph of Martin Luther King standing next to the priest with their arms crossed, holding hands, that's Father's head. There it is. So, yeah. And he was the counselor to about 8 different presidents, if I remember right.
He was, a lot of them. You've read the book. I should just shut up and let you talk. But
no,
I've read the book, but you actually like that book to you is like the Silmarillion to me. It's
it really is. I mean, he was just such a remarkable man. He was fluent in one of the things that Curtis reminded me about today that he did that was so awesome was that he actually, due to his linguistic skills, he was very much like Pope John Paul II in his linguistic ability. He was spoke Italian, French, Spanish, Russian, obviously English. Raised on a farm, very, very poor when he was in the 30s when he was born. But anyway, he was, Curtis and I were trying to remember, but he negotiated peace in between the American diplomats and the Russian diplomats during, I want to say it was the Bay of Pigs or something to that nature. I can't remember. It was a conflict that just took us to the brink of nuclear war. And that man set people down and said, hey, we're calling each other names. We got to get along. God loves us all, whatever preachers say when they talk to people. So it is pretty cool. You get a chance to read his book. It's it was
a really good book. Yeah. I'm not even a Notre Dame guy, but oh, here he is before his flight that you were talking about. They put him up in a jet and
Carter gave him permission, said you can fly in it, but you've got to pass the test. And it's the same test that the astronauts go through with the G-force, centrifugal force, spinny thing, whatever the vomit comet or whatever they call it.
Yes.
All that. So he passed all that physical test at the age of 60 something. He was the one that got Notre Dame football team to quit traveling by train, start traveling by airplane, or by flight. That's
a cool photo.
He also has the library at Notre Dame. There's a picture of him in the basilica at Notre Dame. There's a picture of the library to the right, down and to the right just a little bit, next to the basilica. The second, go over to the right one of that one. Well, now it's gone. Anyway, it's a huge, the library at Notre Dame is pretty big, even though it's a very small student body. But on the mural on the other, most people know it as Touchdown Jesus. It's actually called the Meaning of Life. I have that stamp. There it is, all the way to the right. Down one, to the right. Down one. Next to his portrait at the right. Yeah, that's the book actually at the right.
Is this it?
Or if I'm watching on TV, yeah, that's it right there. You got pulled up.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
that is mural's actually entitled "The Meaning of Life." There's a reflecting pool down below it, and you see the light on just above Jesus's left hand is actually his apartment.
Oh, wow.
An apartment up there.
Okay.
And that's the Hesburgh Library. Touchdown Jesus. I can't
there was I remember the story you were talking about. There were he was in I can't remember the country he was in, but there were negotiations going on in some foreign country.
I want to say Italy. I really think
Italy. I think you're right. And the American ambassador, if I remember the story correctly, insulted the Russian ambassador, which you would think it'd be the other way around, but I think that was the American.
Yeah,
that insulted.
Well, I think it was in Europe, Americans are seen as viewed as being arrogant because we talk like this, we move our hands a lot, and we're big and boisterous. I mean, I'm probably a perfect stereotype of an American citizen in the way I act and carry myself. So, but anyway, yeah, I can see how I could offend somebody pretty easily.
I'm offended, Gary.
Well, I bet Jeremy offended a couple of different times tonight, and it wasn't my intent. If I did, I apologize. But I'm just trying to be.
Plato, he finishes his statement about people of color It became chic to hire people of color, which then turned into virtue signaling devices. Now DEI hiring is like a loyalty pledge.
Yeah, I think that is stated very well. I wish they'd have done that for the Irish. My brethren back in the 20s would have loved to have had DEI hiring, because they were, you'd see a help wanted sign in the window and it'd say Irish need not apply.
Yeah, exactly. The price of fame. You do a good job managing the chat. I appreciate you. I don't know. I mean, there's momentum going on, and like I say, I've got an announcement that I have to make soon, but I don't want to make it today. But
Ooh, I want to tell them.
I mean,
oh no,
okay, thank you.
It's your show. You do what. Hey, I promote your Sunday show.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm wanting to do a Sunday show where I don't know that I'm not going to talk politics, but I think I want to be more focused on the Sunday show on the local things. I'm going to call it the Voice of Northern Oklahoma. And
Northern Okie might remember this, but didn't NOC have a radio station, and wasn't that their moniker at the time?
If they did, I looked it up because
I did too, because when you told me you were going to use it, I went, I bet you that's copyrighted. I looked it up. I couldn't find it anywhere, dude.
I couldn't either. If it's copyrighted, it's like at least Google doesn't give a crap about it if it is. So y'all let me know if you find out different, because I don't want to violate copyright. I mean,
I got another good question for Germs.
Oh, what's that?
Maybe it's for you, I guess, about him. But does he give you good feedback offline and give you that constructive criticism that you need to continue to improve the chat, to improve your stream?
I may talk to you about that offline.
Okay.
So
I know I try to from time to time. I hope some of your friends that you've met on here also give you some constructive criticism on different things that you're doing and stuff. And I really appreciate this picture. I love that.
I do too.
I tell you what,
that's a good picture.
I took Northern Okie up there to a Michigan game one time, and he can attest to the beauty of the campus at Notre Dame. So if you ever find yourself in northern Indiana, there's just so much beauty on that campus for such a small student body. It's just amazing.
I'm saving the picture.
Yeah.
Instead of saving porn today, I'm saving a basilica.
No, that's not the basilica. The basilica, he was inside it earlier. Maybe Chris should have. Now
I should hand out screwdrivers.
Vodka type of screwdrivers.
Doctor Who. Hey, income tax came around about World War I. The original tax code was 7 pages. And Gorillas got to go.
Not odd.
Oh, yeah. Gorillas is doing Firefly, so I need to get finished soon.
Ooh.
Go ahead. Yes.
Forefly, is that like foreplay?
No. Yes. No, it's the show.
I'm telling you, I could foreplay with some Firefly. That'd be. What's your head? Oh my!
I am glad that you think that, Germs. I'm sorry if I got uppity, because sometimes I do, but I do think we had a great conversation. I think, and yes, Germs and I share the same hairstyle, but Germs looks better with it. Damn him! And, hello, Outlaw Bill. Hail and well.
You know what I've about Germs is he hasn't commented on taking me up on him riding my motorcycle if I get to drive his Tesla.
That's it. That's between you two. Curtis is the alter ego of Pinhead. How did you know? Jason Jones, Trump likes to push that McKinley had high tariffs and record economic growth. He neglects that he also had record high immigration and abusive employees that led to robber barons. Gorillas clipping that out of context.
I think the robber barons would be taken care of by the unions today. Probably, maybe even what led to the unions initially. Anyway, maybe would that be correct, Jason? I don't know that. I'm just kind of shooting in the dark on that. So, and I don't know about the record high immigration, but who drove that debt up the most? Refresh my memory. It seems like it was Biden, but I just blaming him because I don't like him.
Let's look it up. Which president drove up? I know Trump did drive it up more than I liked. I will
Well,
say that.
I mean, I could be wrong, but it seemed to me like almost every president drove it up more than the last guy.
I tend to agree, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I am.
So let's see.
Holy smokes! Who's that guy in the middle?
Who's what where?
Oh, it was at the top left little graph. It's okay.
Oh,
yeah, that one's left.
I don't know.
I don't know what it's charting, but man, he's way up there compared to everybody else.
So,
percentage growth of national debt. Okay, is that Ronald Reagan?
That's Ronald Reagan, according to dataz.org. I have no idea if they're legit or not.
Well, but see, and here again, I can't remember where I was talking with somebody earlier about how we like to use numbers and whether you want to use percentages or do you want to use dollars. I suppose for this, you just about have to use percentages because the dollar is really not worth much today, but it's inflation wise, it's
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Let's see. This site is
enough to give us an accurate answer.
Boo the Global Perspectives has Trump, but I noticed that Biden's not on there at all, and I call bullshit. I guarantee he's at least got to be on here.
Well,
even if he's not at the top.
But the date stops at Trump's last presidency.
Yeah.
At 45. So we need, and there may not be the information may not be in on the total for what the 46th president has done.
That's possible. That's possible.
To be fair.
And with that, then it would be impossible to really compare at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people are trying to say that it's Reagan.
Well,
it's hard for me to believe
that one showed a pretty good curve of what we were just talking about. Is that it looks like maybe I don't know.
Well, actually, I like this one because it makes your point. It shows both the percentage and the dollar. The graph is measured by the percentage, but if you look at the dollars, it just keeps going up and up and up and up. And then question mark with Biden, which because at the time that at least this site came up, nobody knew yet. But
I like that. I'm with you. I like that graph a lot because it makes Reagan look. I mean, that bar's way up there, 186%, but only in quotes.
Yeah.
2.9 trillion. But look at HW there, doubled that.
Yes.
Not quite, but only a 54% increase.
Yeah. And then
Really Clinton, there with even more money spent, but even lower percentage.
Slower percentage. And I criticize Clinton for a lot of things, but there's also things that he did right. He did cut the debt.
Good cigar.
And he did make a good cigar. Then we have George W., who, according to percentage wise, is number 2 and did double what Clinton did.
I don't Obama. The percentages.
Huh?
The percentage.
What do you mean?
Well, how is it that Hussein there went up 70%, but put us in the hole double what W did?
Good question. Let me get my calculator out. Oh, Brooke explained his joke. No wrench on YouTube is the same as a Princess Bride. I'm not a wench. I'm your wife.
Oh, yep. There you go.
I should have figured that out. Sorry. I maybe I'll need to revoke my geek card.
Okay, holy smokes, Curtis.
I know. I need to let you go. So if you want to go, and I'll finish up the chat or whatever, but
You'll have to let me know if Germs decides to take me up on the motorcycle ride.
well, he probably just needs to get to know you a little bit better. But yeah, my math may be incorrect, but I do get a higher percentage, although it's still not 100%, because it's not truly double, but my math is showing an 83% increase from Bush's to Obama's.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I don't.
And if you're looking at percentages, yeah, the dollar amount Trump has the most, but it was only a 33% increase over Obama's, which I still think is too much, but it's not 70% and it's not 105%. And
Well, see, I don't know. I guess I'm not, again, not the intellectual type, but 70% for Hussein of W's would be less than what W spent, not double what W spent. Right?
I'm just tired enough to be stupid. Say that again, please. Sorry.
No, that's okay. But, and again, the Don at 33% of what Hussein spent would be a third of what he spent, not.
Yeah, you're thinking backward. It's like a third more than what Obama spent.
Well, then it should have a 1 in front of it, shouldn't it?
Well, it depends on how you want to look at it, but no, I think that it's basically understood that it's supposed to be 33% more. Although my math between Obama and Bush didn't add up, but maybe I'm the one that's wrong. Maybe their math is right, but it's not enough of a difference for me to pitch a fit about. We lost Gary.
I just walked towards the TV so I could read the numbers a little better.
Oh, gotcha.
John, who's going to rescue him then, Germs?
Let's see. Elon's claim.
I mean, are we going to send the Russians up after him?
Well, why not?
Well, I mean, we've been using the Russians to get our people up there and back, right?
Yep, we have.
And to get cargo up and back, because that Hussein feller, didn't he say we didn't need space shuttles anymore?
Well, if we're going to be fair about that one, George W. had already axed the program.
Oh. Well, let's rope us in, because I think it's fucking retarded to cancel a program without having something to replace it. I mean, if you don't need it, you don't need it, I guess. But I guess that's the next question. Do we really need to be going to space? Somebody thinks we do.
Yeah. I'm looking at an article from Fortune. Let's see. Elon Musk's offer to bring home stranded astronauts never reached the space station. This was on today. SpaceX will bring 2 NASA astronauts back this month after damaged spacecraft extended their 8-day journey into a 9-month commission. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said he believes the 2 astronauts were stuck in space for political reasons. He could have rescued them sooner. According to him, the astronauts say they believe Musk and have been left in the dark about what really happened. World's richest man, Elon Musk, will help bring 2 NASA astronauts back to Earth after a Boeing spacecraft suffered technical issues, leaving the 2 aboard the ISS for 9 months.
I bet Elon sabotaged Boeing.
He did. I know he did.
That explains it.
He's the evil power master.
Elon Musk was fact checked by a Danish astronaut. It's true. I found it on the interwebs.
Oh, gotcha. Well, let me know what it said. Let me know if you think it's a legit fact check or just another pedantic thing. Gorillas, if you're in the Oval Office begging for money, you do not have the privilege to roll your eyes at the president. Northern Okie, very good show tonight. I hope you think so. I'm very, very glad that you do. In Asia, however, hail Sashi, the man from the future, who never gives me the winning lottery number. In Asia, every cent I give to the government is used to oppress me. Greetings.
You know, I asked my North Korean friend today how things were going. He said he can't complain.
Exactly. Germ says that to traditional conservatives, Trump is the rhino. We're both getting tired. Sorry, we may not have a great answer to that one.
I disagree. I think to the rhino conservatives, he's the rhino, but that's a Marxist tactic, right? Accuse the others of what you're doing. I think Trump is more of a traditional conservative because he's, one of the things conservatives want to do. I like Sashi's comment on that. One of the things that he continues to do is very conservative. They'll secure the borders. We have to have a secure country, So that's certainly not a rhino thing.
Trump is a Spider-Man villain. And Gorilla Censored Thoughts is saying something about the Federal Reserve, which I think most of you know I'm no fan of. Sashi has to get back to work.
I got to get to sleep.
Germ says we should definitely meet up and geek out about cars, bikes, and eat tasty food. The court cases speak for themselves. We can search.
We need to meet him over at. I won't be able to go to the medieval fair in Norman because it's the weekend after Easter. I have a motorcycle thing in Winoka. If you're anywhere near Western Oklahoma and you come over to the Winoka Snake Hunt, though, look me up. I'm not hard to figure out which one I am. That's for damn sure. But let's figure a weekend we can meet up at the medieval fair over at the castle in Muskogee for sure. Are there any other Okies in here that would like to do that? I think it'd be fun. We've had a nice conversation tonight.
We have. We've disagreed vehemently, but with the possible exception of myself, no one's gotten really very snotty.
Nope. I don't disagree. I'm just reading Germs's.
Putin invaded Ukraine.
Yes, Putin invaded Ukraine, and he's. I can see his point in the fact that it used to be part of Russia. They need to keep it open so that they have access to a port that doesn't ice over. I think that's right. And the cost of aggression. But the bottom line is I don't know. I don't think we can force Putin to do anything he's not willing to do. I mean, without all that war. And so the best, in my opinion, the best negotiation and the best way we can get paid back. And this is what I didn't understand about Lazinski on that. His tactics in there. The last card he had to play was trying to guarantee entrance into NATO, because if he did that, he doesn't need to give up his rare earth minerals for us to mine, but he can get U.S. security guarantees by doing either. So if he convinced us to help him get into NATO, then, in my opinion, he could keep all of the mining rights, keep all the money from mining, not have to pay back the U.S., and still get U.S. protection. So really what he did, I think, is really smart. It delayed things. It cost, it'll be a week before they get back to it at the very least, so a couple of thousand more lives, which is really sad. But in the grand scheme, why you got to do that, Curtis? That's just I was in the middle of something when you did. But Germs, I in a perfect world, you would be right, but you only get the aggressor to pay things back if they lose the war, right? I mean, in history, that's
That's the way it goes.
The
Yeah.
losers don't get to write history, and they have to pay for their transgressions, whether it's like in the Nuremberg trials or whether it's some kind of monetary, or like Japan lost their right to have a military which worked out great for them. They got to build a economic empire while we protected them, and that's something else. I'm telling you,
Isn't it? You wonder why I support her so much?
I'd support.
I'm going to try desperately to get through the chat here, and then call it a stream.
Yeah,
the judicial system of appeals is how cases rise from local to national. Germs wasn't calling me out. He was responding directly to the comment. The delay made it seem targeted. The internet lag is real.
I didn't feel like he was calling you out. So
yeah, I'm sorry. I get touchy sometimes. Sorry. Diversity programs are an attempt to make it less likely for a group of people to be discriminatory, but it has challenges and imperfections. I would agree with that.
I think that was again, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't think, hey, somebody finally told you, person of talent, I like that one better. I personally think it was done by the deep state to divide us.
Yeah, me too.
My conspiracy theory. And I expect it to be proven true in the next few years, just like all the others.
Yeah. If it really was to help the downtrodden, if I really believe that, I would be 100% for it, because
and if that's what they wanted to do, why didn't they just focus on equal opportunity employment?
Yeah.
When people of color are being discriminated against, make an example of people that are discriminating, and let's use the legal system and get this shit taken care of, because it is wrong. When I'm going in for brain surgery or I'm getting on a plane, I don't care what color, sexual orientation, or whether you've got a penis or not. I feel discriminated against because I'm fat, I take blood pressure medication, and I have a penis. Therefore, I had to go for a sleep study to keep my job. Oh, and I'm white.
Well, yeah, being white does hurt.
I had any of these four things, and those two of them are on the list. White, penis. Can't do much about it.
Yep. The IRS is the way we collect revenue. If there's a growing balance to be collected, firing the collectors is counterproductive.
Unless you replace them with something else, sure, it could be counterproductive. But if you've got, how many did we say there was? 100,000 of them, and only 20,000 are collected?
We have 90,000, 7,000. And again, let me stress that they're the whatchamacallits, the ones that the temps basically are being fired. And if it was a big slash, like if it really was half, then I would say, okay, yeah, that's too much. To me,
it was truly,
I'm good with it.
Only the top people that have been here for the longest time can go. It wasn't that either. It was anybody.
Well, in the case of the IRS, anyway, the article just talks about the
1,000.
Yeah.
Non-permanent employees. I can't remember what they called them.
Right. No offense taken. I'm not a snowflake Trump supporter. We should all be snowflake Trump supporters. We're all unique and beautiful, like everybody else. In regard to NOC, that seems correct. Maybe they used it, but never did anything legal with it.
Well, and they don't use it anymore because I don't think they have a radio station anymore. Shannon worked there for a while, and she had no idea they even had a radio station.
Well, I'm afraid I may end up being about all they've got. But that could be cool. Be cool. DJ Play Nice, we're finishing up a stream where I'm interviewing crazy, wacko, right-wing, crazy person, Garry Canada, who's also former mayor of Billings and other spiffy things that mean that he's worth listening to. So there.
I have a voice for radio. I think it's the face for radio that they were.
Somebody said that. I think Jason said that. But
did he?
I think I stayed on it. Yeah. Germs, I did say we should meet up. Damn the chat delay. Yes. And DJ Ronnie G, the fun part is taking inflation into account when comparing how any president expanded debt. Yeah, Well, that's another thing. That graph that I just showed doesn't take it into account. So
I bet one of them did, because there's a whole bunch of them on that page.
there were, but at least the ones that I looked at didn't take it into
Well,
account.
I did like the one you looked at that showed the dollar amount and the percentage, but I still couldn't make heads or tails of what they were percentaging.
Well, it was the percentage increase over the last one is what it was. But DJ Play Nice, going on a putt is a great way to get to know someone, and it's fun as hell. I'm going to dust off my 68 Honda this month.
All right. DJ, are you a member of the VJMC? For those of y'all that don't know, that's the Vintage Japanese Motorcycle Club. They actually have a periodical and a place where you can buy parts for vintage Japanese motorcycles. So
Cool beans.
if you're not aware of it and you need some parts for that old Honda, that'd be a good place to look. VJ.
DJ Play Nice. I can't remember where you're from, DJ. But anyway, yeah. Well,
Yeah, this lag sucks. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad. Wow.
I'm tired. I know you're getting tired. You have to get up before any of us, pretty much. So
Yeah,
shall we call it this stream?
3:30. So yeah.
All right.
Put dogs up dinner.
I hope everyone's okay. I'm going to break with tradition and just simply play the soft prone music. Gary, do you have any last words before we?
Man, I enjoyed it. I wish we could have gotten somebody with a different view from mine. I'm not going to go as far as call somebody a liberal, but to go a little bit different view, and we could have hashed it out a little bit. And mostly because of the lag, I guess. I thought we were doing a pretty good job of maintaining it, but as I'm seeing some of the comments come in,
Yeah, the lag was awful. It's one of the tough things with StreamYard.
you know. Well, you remember the time I was driving home during your stream when I got stuck in McAllister, and I drove all the way home from McAllister and Omaha. I'm glad you guys repealed your helmet law, but yeah, Nebraska had a helmet law until this January 1st last year. So they've had over a little over a year now. Anyway, I think that's correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, I would text you when I was in Oklahoma City or something. Hey, I made it to Oklahoma City, and you would read that about the time I got to Perry. So it was about an hour lag time.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
And I mean, I was just watching on my phone, or listening on my phone. And when I'd get a chance, I'd key in that I was in a location. And when I would hear you read it, I'm like going, holy shit, surely it's not, maybe, I couldn't believe it. Lag time.
Gary, we did 3 hours and 32 minutes.
I told you I couldn't go for 4 hours.
Oh, well, I don't blame you at all. And I'm kind of wiped out myself. So my apologies if the last little bit wasn't great, but
Fun. I don't know how informative or how much anybody learned, other than that guy can be an asshole if he looks like Uncle Jesse.
yes. Ha! And hopefully, like I say, we tossed around some things. Hopefully we verified some things on each side. I don't know that I can be a true centrist anymore, but I do at least want to try to be fair. And I've got on Saturday, I believe, I can't remember the time, but I have a stream where I'm interviewing Darkwoods again. The topic is different, though. He's going to be talking about shadow banning. And then Sunday, I'm going to, sometime in the afternoon, do The Voice of Oklahoma. And I haven't figured out what I'm going to do for Tuesday. Well, actually, Tuesday, I'm going to make the announcement. I've decided, come hell or high water, the announcement comes out Tuesday, and that won't be the entire show, but that might be the kind of the crux of, what direction does this channel need to go? What would you guys like, etc., etc. And like Gary said, please visit my Patreon page. It is hopefully pinned to the top of the chat. And I like to say at the end of every stream, life is pain. And anyone trying to tell you otherwise is trying to sell you something. And I, in fact, am trying to sell you something. I'm trying to sell you on the idea that you are smart enough and good enough to run your own life. You don't need big corporations or big governments to tell you how to do that. And lastly of all, I would like to tell you that it may seem so, but you are not going mad. You're going sane in a world gone mad. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much. And yes, we as many of us as possible need to do a face-to-face and lust over Tulsi Gabbard. Spoon!
Definitely.
That's what she said.
Good night, all. I had a great time. Thanks for having me. Thanks for putting up with me.
Night. Have a good. Woo!